you'll be able to get yourself to the final circle, and thus, if you manage to get a booyah, you pretty much get yourself that guarantee 4 kills for killing the second last squad, and you yourself is the last squad. So if you get a booyah, that is essentially 12 plus 4 points, that's 16 points that you are already on top of people. And not only just for the fact that booyah gives a lot of points, it also plays a considerable role in the tiebreaker rules. This is what happens. In the event that we have 2 teams that have the same score, we are going to be looking at first the number of booyahs. If there happens to be a team that have 1 booyah more than the other, then that's all. That is very simple. But in the event that they have the same amount of booyahs, we will then look at the total kills. And then if it's still tied up, we'll be looking at a survival ranking in the final round.
And this is actually very important. If we look at Liga Brasilia, what happened was Fluxo and Loud, both of these guys had 103 points going in, but Fluxo had that 1 booyah, and that's why they're in the play-in stage. Loud are now playing for their lives as they're playing in today.
Yep. And of course, since we're talking about Fluxo and we are also talking about Loud, these teams, Loud especially, is definitely going to be one of everyone's favorites, right? So many of these teams that is out there, I will of course talk about them after we reveal the maps that we are going to be playing today. And of course, match number 1 will be played in Bermuda, match number 2 on to Kalahari, and of course, match number 3 will be on to Purgatory, and the cycle continues for match 4 to the match 6.
Yeah, so we're going to see all of them. They're going to just kind of rotate around. I think there's going to be a lot of fireworks, especially early. Bermuda is definitely one of those maps that, a lot of kills are going to end up happening. So we're going to see that 1 and 4 to kind of start things off. That's going to really set the pace for tonight. And of course, you have the almighty Purgatory, and we're going to see exactly who comes out the winner with these things. Purgatory is one of my favorite maps. There's just a lot of action that goes on in this one. And then ending the night with Purgatory is going to be just nothing but fireworks.
Indeed. And well, what can I say, ladies and gentlemen? I really hope that every single one of you guys are very excited for what all of these teams have got for you guys today. We will be jumping into the game pretty darn soon, but before we even jump onto that, let me just talk a little bit more about the teams itself. Because, well, we have a lot of teams, but there is a couple of teams that I would want to talk about. And first things first, Team Singularity is a team that I would definitely want to put more of my focus on because of the very fact that they have two players from Sibania in their roster. And Sibania is the team that Sibania CHR is the one that pretty much won themselves the first place in the FFCS. So this is very big. The fact that there's 2 of these players inside of Team Singularity as well, that is going to be big.
All right, well, you talk about Loud, you talk about Fluxor, you talk about all these other teams, but New Gank is one of those Singaporean teams. It's a homegrown team. It's really nice to see something like this. They have a married couple. They are inside. They're going to be Mr. Frost and Mira, both of these guys. And then there's also going to be Hazel, who's the mother of Mary Jane. And so you have this nice little combination. And what's better than a MILF, which is a mother in love with Free Fire?
Oh, that is a good one. But of course, I would really want to see all of these teams coming into action. New Gang, Fluxo, Singularity, and all that. But for now, it does seem like we are definitely going to be jumping into the game very, very soon. And once we are back, well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be Bermuda. And of course,
all right, so let's talk about one other team. Another one that I really liked was Indonesia, right? The fact that they're first raters. This is a team that they actually had to go onto national television and then figure out who's going to be on this team, and they secure them. It was kind of like American Idol in that sense, but it was for Free Fire. And they found this team. They started off a little rough, and they were kind of struggling to kind of get their consistency because these were pretty much just solo players. They're amazing players, but now they, it took a little time for them to gel, and then we see them now in the second place, and we're going to see first raters really pull it up. They were runner-ups in the FFIM by losing only by 2 points to a powerhouse of EVOS Divine. So this is a team that's, we're going to see some definitely fireworks.
Yep. EVOS Divine is a team that we'll only see on Sunday, and that is going to be the playoffs, also known as the finals. But for now, I do want to put a lot of emphasis on these playing teams, right? So many big names, and we talked about New Gang as well. They are in for some big games. a lot of these teams are definitely teams that you should not underestimate. Of course, they are a force to be reckoned with. I do hope that New Gang is able to give us a really big action. Whatever it is, either they play slow, or they play fast, aggressive, or defensive. Whichever that they need to get themselves as much points as possible, I suppose.
So there's 9 different teams. You're going to see 9 different metas, right? Everything is kind of different. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play things, especially in Bermuda, just how they start off. Are they going to be aggressive, or are they going to kind of land in like, barren areas and kind of loot everything, make sure you got the utility going in to the later part of the game? We're going to have to kind of see how this one plays out, because there's just so much potential, and you do not want to get eliminated, especially early in that first game.
I really want to talk about the meta itself, right? Because every single region have their own different meta, and the last time that we heard about anything about international was a year ago. So this is very important, ladies and gentlemen. The Free Fire World Series is about to happen with game number 1 into Bermuda breaking in. Alright, here we go. Game number 1 here in Bermuda. Before we even jump into anything else, let us analyze this flight path first. It is a straight line all the way from the eastern side to, of course, the western side, cutting through Cape Town, Kota to Bimasan Strip, as well as Observatory. So there really isn't much empty zone that I can expect. A lot of these teams will have a free access to every single part of this map.
Yeah, and First Raiders and GDP, both of those guys are on the bottom, and you're going to see an early skirmish here, especially by the dumpster. That's a good way to start off the night. But Omar kind of hiding here, doesn't really have anything. Does need to be a little bit careful. As I Am Susa's right across on the other side of the wall and notices that he's around, and he's jumping around with joy because he has a gun.
Yeah, I mean, at this point of time, I don't even know who is going to be the one that have the upper hand. Is it going to be God's plan, or is it actually going to be First Raiders? But for both these two teams, I'm pretty sure that no matter what, they will try their best not to be too close with one another, because, to be honest, this is not the best way to start. Jumping right into one another inside of Sentosa, this, well, not a great start, especially if you start to lose one member a little bit too early.
Yeah, you do not want to start off handicapped. This is a huge issue and a problem with, there's a little bit of luck involved in Battle Royale. So you definitely want to be 4-man going all the way in as long as possible. Make sure you have those numbers. And it looks like GDP have gotten away, and it looks like they did not lose anybody. So that's a pretty big win for them, considering they seem to be in a very bad position in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, well, they dropped themselves too close onto First Raiders. They did manage to get themselves to the southern part of the island, below of Sentosa, but that doesn't mean that they are out of, well, all harm's way just yet, because one of the most important things is that they can actually get themselves by ziplining through into Mars Electric. And unfortunately, Mars Electric is not uninhabited. There is Team DEA that is just around the area, inside of Mars Electric, as well as Pochinok as well. But looking at the entirety of the map, there is going to be a lot of choke points that is just going to be happening right around the Pochinok area towards the peak area, as everyone just slowly converges themselves into the center of the map.
And I mean, First Raiders and GDP, they looked like there was going to be a potential skirmish, but they've completely backed off. Everybody is saying, hey, this is the first game of the play-ins. Let's take things a little slow. We don't need to be over-aggressive, especially going out. We do not want to lose anybody, especially early. So let's, take what we can, and then we will get to it, especially as this game proceeds.
At this moment of time, it does seem like the zip lining action is going to be done by GDP. They are definitely going to get themselves a little bit too close to the side of DEA. But, I'm not all out for God's plan doing that at all, because, well, DEA, they are split into half. 2 members into Mars Electric. Definitely be some down half of the EA squad to make things a lot easier as they slowly proceed themselves to the mid or perhaps even the late stages of the game. And I do think that they probably may have found JRDY.
Yeah, they found Jordy. I think they're kind of making a move on him. Remind is kind of backing him up, but it looks like it's going to be a 4-on-1. Jordy's completely caught out in the open. He's looking to get some major damage taken to him, but he's still up for some reason. Apparently, GDP not able to hit their shots.
They did manage to get a decent amount of hit onto the side of Jordy, but unfortunately not enough to bring him down. And that is the most important thing, right? To bring your opponents down. They managed to find Remind as well because of the time turner that actually just popped right in front of their eyes. But they just don't have enough firepower to bring these two players down, and that is an opportunity wasted. But because of the fact that they have also revealed the position, there really isn't any reason for them to go overly aggressive against DEA.
Yeah, and they're grouping up here. They're trying to, DEA sticking around. He's like, hey, Jordy, hey. He's making the call out. He's like, I'm getting shot. Somebody help me out. Let's get to it. So they're sticking together, and they're going to be moving in. But it looks like HQ and NWG kind of close by. And HQ are in the, like, on the side of the cliff. So this is a little bit dangerous because it is very exposed on this side of the mountain.
Funky M, you know, they're just running around mill, but so far so good, at least for them. And you know what, speaking of so far so good, New Gang, they have been wrapping themselves all the way from Cape Town to Carrington and all the way up to mill. And I'm surprised that they are that bold to move so much. They don't necessarily have a scout, and if they do, just kind of getting himself up in front of people, especially when it comes to the riverside. But, you know, speaking of which, we are going to be looking at 25 seconds in before the circle closes. And the circle has also revealed itself to pop itself slightly towards the southern part of the island.
Yeah, Mr. Frost taking a lot of damage there. HQ is nearby. Mind you, Mr. Frost is like their highest kill fragger on that team. So you lose him, you got a hard time ahead of you. And mind you, he had 40 kills in the SG finals. This is a guy that does need to stay alive, needs to stay alive. Hazel's getting some shots off, and she's going to have to run away here, and she's getting shot. She does get knocked. That's going to be the first one, and that's going to be the first kill, at least, or excuse me, the first knock, at least of this one. Frost is going down as well, and it looks like they're completely exposed, the blue, and that's going to be another one.
Oh.
So they're kind of in a rough spot here.
Yeah, it's completely pincered all the way from north, south, east, west. Every single part. I didn't know that HQ kind of changed their name to Attack All Around because they literally attacked all around onto Mr. Frost at that very point.
Yeah, they did it. And mind you, Mira and Mr. Frost, like any married couple, you saw what they did. They split up, right?
Yep.
I'm just going to say, now it wasn't a divorce level of split, but they were definitely on other sides of the map. They were not on the same page.
Yep, unfortunately, you know, they are kind of they're kind of forced out. They are not. It's not, you know, kind of a strategic positioning whereby they are just like, oh, we are gonna pincer the opponents, but it kind of seems like a little bit of a communication breakdown, or they can't exactly do anything once they realizes that, you know, hey, the opponent is right on us. We need to do something about this. And just like that, we've got two of the New Gang players already down, and that is going to be quite a pain for New Gang to even get themselves closer into the circle.
Yeah, and this is a moment where, I mean, look at how far off Mira and Mary Jane are right now. They're just so far from each other, and they're just going to just look to survival mode, bunker down, just do what they can. But if we're looking at Omar, speaking of bunkering down, and Andres just kind of sticking around here, they are, oh, it looks like first Raiders and DEA, a little bit of a firefight coming at you.
DEA, though, all four of them are still pretty healthy, but speaking of healthy, Darkhold wasn't exactly, as he did manage to, well, receive a small little amount of damage. Kind of seems as though there's just a single lone bee from a colony decide to just punch one in. Well, it's not that big of a deal, as First Raiders have decided to get themselves out of the vicinity and getting themselves away from DEA. And this is pretty much the epitome of the start of an international tournament, right? Everyone wants to go aggressive, but yet they do not know what awaits them in front. So they want to get the points, but placements is more important, and all of these teams, they have a lot of discipline onto them.
All right, the drop is about to happen. A AAA are right there. Viceroy are also nearby, and I don't know if they're going to stick around for this one, but it looks like they're going to be a little exposed, which is okay. There we go. You've got the complete of the scouting, and that's going to just kind of end that one there. But if we're looking at AAA and you know, Viceroy, they're very close. It's so weird because GDP, all the three teams are right around this area, and yet nobody's really committing for anything.
Viceroy's factory is a really big vicinity, and the fact that GDP is unable to break into factory and kind of play the elevation game from ground floor to second floor, it pretty much means that Viceroy is marking their spot, right? Marking their territory, ensuring that no one gets themselves into factory, because factory is a really valuable position over here. This is the only spot whereby you are able to see you're able to see all the way over the clock tower, or perhaps even the Pochinock, but most importantly, you are able to see at the top of that ridge that links over to Peak, as you can see from the map of Bermuda. So they have to be very careful not to give away the positioning of factory. They can hold their own, just keep themselves in there, but ensure that GDP don't get themselves any closer. They should also have a decent idea for the strategies as well as which teams are around where. So they should know that AAA is right around the northeastern side of them. They should also know that DEA is at the eastern side of them.
Yeah, and look at Bruno, just kind of looking, just trying to peek over, realizing that the circle is a ways away. They have plenty of space, but AAA are in that red zone. They do need to be a little bit careful. They need to make a move at some point, but they're kind of right in the middle of things. I don't know if that's where you really want to be, especially in the first game.
Well, AAA, they don't have any cover for themselves. The best thing that they can kind of do is just kind of split themselves up so that they all don't just kind of explode into smithereens together. So the only thing that they can do, kind of split themselves up. In the very event that one of them drops, it's okay. There are still 3 other members. And if it happens to be all 4 of the players just got destroyed by the danger zone, then we can pretty much mark them as the most unlucky team in FFWS.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a record, right? In the sense of at least being the worst luck in that sense. But Neo now just making a move here, does have a nice little backpack there, very, very cute. At the end of the day, he's going to run right through here, but not another. We haven't seen too many skirmishes, and only really just 2 people dying from New Gang.
That is true, because every single one of these teams, they are still kind of kind of getting their feet wet, rubbing shoulders. They still want to understand how their opponents play at this point of time. They don't want to reveal too much of their tactics, especially since the players for the teams from the finals, they may very well be watching this very stream, and they would learn the techniques, or rather, they might want to learn how to counter against the teams that are the most promising.
Yeah, but okay, GDP taking some shots here, but Janito, 25, getting some good shots here. Just going to use that factory wall and cover, but Viceroy are in the factory. You talked about just the importance of it and how big it is and just how difficult it is to just kind of to overtake it.
Yep. It's also really tough to hold the place by itself, because imagine you have to fight someone on literally just play based on verticality. You can't exactly shoot someone straight downwards 90 degrees down. Like, you can't do that. So it's really tough once anyone gets themselves into the factory. But it does seem like GDP, they are not very confident in just breaking into the factory itself because they don't have enough information as to where the members from Vice Aurora is. They could be all the way on the second floor, could be on the third, could be on the roof, or perhaps even all of them gathered around on the ground level and waiting to unleash a firing squad onto whoever that dares go into factory.
And you kind of briefly mentioned it in the sense that GDP are very patient, and I think that you need to do that, especially early. The circle, nobody's in danger of getting hurt right now. You don't need to be aggressive. You don't need to be running out in the open. It's just very, it's to your benefit to play as safe as possible at this point.
Yeah, but the fact that they're hiding inside of the containers is not exactly my favorite thing. You only have a single exit. A single entrance, single exit. There is not much place for you to be at. And in the very event that we happen to see, the other members for DEA just coming in, going to the top of the ridge, they're going to see GDP. And all they gotta do is fire a single round of LMG onto the containers. And I'm pretty sure that at least one of them would go down. So not the best place to be at. I would rather GDP to kind of take the long route out and try to get themselves in a more comfortable place, or perhaps just kind of bump all the way in onto Vice Aurora's factory. But they only have 3 members as Karma is eliminated after all.
Yeah, and again, this is one of those things where you get, you lose a player. It's like losing an arm in a fight in that sense, and you don't have that. You don't have that power. So you need to be a little bit safer. You need to make sure that you're, playing within the game itself. You either go gatekeeper, you either just bunker down, but you don't really need to push it here. And DEA, very patient. We haven't even seen these guys move too much. I think their little companions have gotten more of a workout than those players themselves. So they've just kind of locked down, bunkered down, really not taken anything aggressive.
Mark my words, the next circle is going to be chaotic. And this very fight between Loud and AAA is going to be the one that kind of sparked all chaos to go around, This thundering shot through the horizons from Loud over to AAA, everyone is going to know their positions. They are all definitely going to know that someone's going to be on the northern side. New Gang, they may make full use of this information to kind of evade or get behind them. It really depends on how they want to play. But for now, I guess the most important thing is Will, as he pops a glue wall right in front of the opponents, and of course just kind of nestle himself and kind of put himself in between a glue wall to ensure that he will be safe and A-okay. A lot of grenades being lobbed over the glue walls, just hoping that they will be able to get a single kill or two. But unfortunately, Naziles gets himself a kill onto Puckguard, and Moskvin coming in from Singularity. They come in completely blindsided AAA, and AAA is going to be the first team to be eliminated out of nowhere. As Singularity, they literally just went into their opponent's time turner, like literally into their bubble, making them so uncomfortable that they have no other ways to run.
Yeah, and they got completely pincered. I mean, AAA not really having much of a chance there. Loud, if there's anything that we've learned from these guys, is that they like to just stay in the shadows. They like to pick up as much utility as possible, and they just rain grenades on you. AAA had nowhere to go. They were trying to run away, try to get out of the grenade range, but Singularity was on the other end of that. So it was like this meat grinder of damned if you do, damned if you don't. You had nowhere to go, and it looks like there's going to be another fight here as Loud, Vinix goes down.
That is going to be the chaos I'm going to be talking about, because Singularity, we have to keep our eye on them. Naziles, he's just going to be working his way through the trees and hoping to bring down the glue wall as fast as he can, but unfortunately the members from Loud, they have already dispersed. They are not behind that spot anymore, and in the meantime, the 8th place will then go over to New Gang as 2 of their members has been eliminated. But hold on, take a look at the screen. Umbla coming in from the side of First Raiders, they're just going to be bumping right up onto this small little garage. They should be able to find 2 of the members coming from HQ Esports, and Tyson, he counts himself down. Artemis eliminated, Tyson is eliminated as well, and thus HQ Esports is going to be eliminated at 7th place. But moving on is going to be Vasorar. They get themselves with 2 easy kills on the side of GDP. And remember what I said about the containers? They shouldn't be in the containers, because this is an easy kill for the side of Vasorar. And just like that, 1 other members from GDP, or rather 2 members from GDP is already dead. Omar is going to be the last man remaining. He had to find a way to get himself out of there, except for the fact that Papaz, which was also known as Franco, he is going to find himself a nice little snack, as GDP is going to be eliminated at 6th place.
Yeah, and Papa's jumping down like Batman there, making a play and making sure he does get that kill. But again, there's just so much action going on, lots of kills, and things are just happening left and right, because this is why nobody was killed. And SCG is turning on that grenade, kills 3, Colin with it, just an absolute monster of a grenade right there.
Vasorar gets himself a little bit too close to DEA, but hey, you know what? They could be able to do something over here. But for Menaces as well as Crusher, they find themselves being blindsided by Loud, because I think that they have too many angles to watch out for. Loud is really happy by the electrical towers, with all of those sniper rifle shots soaring right through the air. Vasorar has brought up too much attention for themselves, and DEA, they are still pretty A-okay behind all of their glue walls. But the other side though, there is still a single member from First Raiders, which is probably gonna go down real soon.
Yeah, I don't know if DEA, that position of the glue walls was great. The fact that they're like kind of putting themselves in a very bad spot. Loud is just making it rain from the high ground, just completely dominating. He's got 4, the only team with 4 left. There's 2 players left from Visceral and DEA. How are they gonna do this?
This is pretty much impossible over here, because this is Papas going down, and that is going to be Visorar being pumped onto 2nd place, and Loud, Team Loud, a very convincing win with a menacing booyah!
Welcome back to the Free Fire World Series 2021. Today is the play-in. We just saw the first match. Loud getting that amazing booyah. They were doing that with style. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, before that, I mean, you know what? The other thing that's pretty loud, other than Loud themselves, is definitely our sponsors, ROG. Because of them, we do have the ROG phones as well as the ROG headsets, which is, after all, the official gaming gear of the Free Fire World Series 2021. But back to the real Loud here. Loud, you know, as
what did you think of that one?
Well, the most important thing is that they had one very important thing, and Luke Skywalker would say that they had the high ground.
That is true.
They had the electrical tower all for themselves. And I think that is going to be one of the most important things because it kind of shields them from one entire side.
Yes.
You know, it's one entire bearing that they don't have to care about. And anyone that's in front of them is definitely doomed. But, you know, it's not just the positioning of Loud themselves. They have been raining bullets and raining lead to every single team that they find. And that aggression is definitely not something that I was expecting.
No, they have this looter mentality. They dropped in the Northwest. Nobody was there. They looted everything. They played pretty much possum almost the entire early to mid game, right? And then all of a sudden they came out and what did they have? Just a ton of frag grenades and they just let it rain.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? It seems very contradicting because I was thinking like, you know, Loud, I thought that they would be playing a lot more aggressively, especially since they went all the way to the Northwest and they're like completely free. There's no one around. But then I kind of thought to myself, you know, I'm the spectator. I'm the only one that knows that they are alone in the Northwest. Maybe they were thinking that someone is going to be in the Northwest or those kind of stuff. But what it is. If they happen to land in an area that is completely secluded, then might as well make full use of the place. Loot up everywhere, get themselves the best gears, get themselves the drop, the flare gun, whatever that they need in order to find themselves in the best position possible to yoink themselves that booyah.
Yeah. And like, look at the fact that like, you know, we saw 3 earlier kills, right? I think it was like the first 12 or so minutes before we started, is around there, right? And so just kind of moving into that, and then like all of a sudden, everybody was pretty much dying. And we're looking at the standings now, Loud with your 12 points, Vicer are just with the one person, out surviving DEA with just one person at the time, but it's 9 and 8. And we're looking at going to be, you know, First Raiders coming up next, Singularity as well, and so on and so on. But Attack All Around being at the bottom, that's the biggest surprise, at least to me, in the first match.
Indeed. I have no idea what has happened to Attack All Around. I guess that, you know, things just wasn't part of their plan, right? In fact, they wanted to attack the opponents all around, but as a matter of fact, they were, well, countered attacked all around by, I believe that it was Singularity. Yeah, Singularity as well as it was DEA, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so it was an unfortunate event coming in from AAA because when it comes to Battle Royales, there are a lot of these spicy stuff that just kind of get stirred around inside of this big melting pot. There's a lot of skill, but yet there is also a lot of luck involved.
Yes, of course. And New Gank lost to Mr. Frost. Speaking a little bit of luck or bad luck at this point, they lost their #1 fragger. Attack All Around lost Hoysong very, very early as well. Their #1 fragger. Both of those team at the bottom. Because of that, you got to protect your guys. I don't know how you're going to do it. Maybe you play a little Operation Human Shield. You stand in front of the guy, but you got to keep those guys alive because those are the ones that are going to get you the kills.
Yep. Otherwise, just kind of expand every single one of your glue walls just for that one person because you would never know. One person can pretty much bring you to be the MVP, right? That one very person could be the MVP. Like Kaon over here. He's got a total of 8 kills. And if I were his teammates, if I know that I'm not a good shot today, I'm throwing every single one of my glue walls just to block him and ensure that he don't die.
I mean, 8 kills is pretty crazy, especially for the first match. Like that is insane. Like that record, I don't know if I'm pretty sure he's not going to be able to keep that pace. I don't want to jinx the guy.
You never know.
But 8 kills in one match is actually pretty insane, and the fact that their team was just letting him just kind of hoard those things, and then you're going to see the power of what he was able to do, hit his shots, got to it, and then we're going to look at the kill board right here. I mean, Con, you talked about the fact that he got 8 kills. Vidix is going to be #2, tied with Papa with 2 kills apiece. You know, second and third place, I mean, it's pretty much a tie at this point.
Yep, but that is a major lead. A total of 6 kills just for Con himself. This is kind of insane. If you think about it, you are putting him in the center of Bermuda, and you have 2 teams surrounding him, and essentially he win every single one of that 1v1 fights. And that is the representation of what 8 kills mean. That means that you do not die and you consecutively win players after players after players, of course with the help of your teammates after all, but the matter is that he got a total of 8 kills, and that is big enough.
Like, you talk about the fact that, yes, he's able to solo this, but this is a team game, and Loud, if anything, if one guy is shooting at him, Count is just the better guy at getting the the kill stealer, right?
Yeah,
in the sense that he was able to go that.
Yeah.
So, that said, let's take a quick little break, and we'll be right back with match 2 that's coming up right away.
السلام عليكم، معاكم الدون قائد فريق PEA. حبيت نقول الفريق VIP Esports يستناونا وينتظرونا في النهائي، راح نلحق بهم ان شاء الله وراح نهزم كامل الفرق.
Kita elang bukan sembarang elang, cakar kita yang tajam siap menerkam semua lawan.
Quiero invitarlos este 28 de mayo a la transmisión de los play-in, donde estaremos compitiendo para representar a toda Latinoamérica. También quería desearle a los demás equipos la mayor de la suerte.
Eu queria dizer aí para as outras equipes, cara, que vocês perderam a partida, vocês estão de casa. Isso é louco.
Espero que eles estejam preparados para perder. Acho que era para pôr os primeiros lugares, esquece.
Мы рвем абсолютно всех на части. Мы безжалостны, мы решительны. Поэтому Флюкса, ждите нас в финале, и мы покажем, кто такие. Singularity Invincible.
I'm Mary Jane, the captain of New Gang. We will see all of you on this coming 28 for the World Series. Good luck to all the teams.
แชมป์เอเชียผมก็ได้มาแล้วครับ แต่ต่อไปผมจะเอาแชมป์โลก
Hát quỳ đã sẵn sàng, hẹn BTS ở chung kết nhau. Let's go!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. We're going to be jumping into the second game in Bermuda very soon. But, a little bit of post-game analysis wouldn't hurt again, especially when it comes to the top 3 that we are talking about. Oh, sorry, not Bermuda, Kalahari.
Yeah, that's gonna be up. That's gonna be upcoming next. Of course, we know that Loud, Viceroy, DEA, top 3 that's going in. At this point, I think they've marked a target on their back. These are the ones that you gotta find. Make sure you kill them because you need to take away that lead, especially with the number of kills that they got and the fact that there's I think 10 kills plus the Booyah, so you're looking at about 22 kills after just the first match. You gotta arrow these guys. You gotta find Loud. You gotta hunt them down.
Loud currently have a total of 24 points.
24.
And that is 11 points more than Vice Aurora already, if I remember correctly. Vice Aurora had a total of 13 points, somewhere around there. So we do have a lot of emphasis that we need to put onto Loud at this moment of time because, well, that's a lot of points, not gonna lie. And we need to start to see more of these elite squads just kind of popping off, a lot of kills being up and coming every now and here. So I do want to see the point of time whereby teams are starting to realize this, something in their head just kind of snap, and they're like, you know what, we should focus on the kill feed. If we start to see and hear, anyone who kills or killed Loud, we need to get our way either there or out. Kind of snipe them out or just kind of avoid them. But I want to see some sniping action, actually.
True. Yeah, we're going to see a lot more. Don't worry. The kills are going to happen. That's just a matter of time. But one thing to note is that, yes, Loud got that massive booyah. Yes, they got a bunch of kills. But, hey, in League of Brasilia, just in their own region, in their own league, Corinthians came out with the first 2 booyahs to start off their finals. Right? And the fact that they didn't even make it into the top 2 says a lot about how competitive that team is. And Free Fire is part of those things. It's just one match. You just got to shake it off. You're not dead. You got to continue to fight in and just play even stronger match 2 and beyond.
There's still so much curveballs that can be thrown right at us. And I quote back to, I believe that it was MCP. We saw GeekFam, which is going to be playing in the finals, by the way. We saw GeekFam, they weren't doing that good or that well at all in the earlier part of the series. And people were just like, what's going on, GeekFam? They are like at the bottom half of the leaderboards. Like, what's going on? And then we come into week 3 and week 4.
Yeah. Yep, go on.
They just absolutely destroyed the competition, and even if they were to miss 1 week, they would still not lose their first place. It's that kind of situation, So, Free Fire, lots of curveballs. It is not over just yet.
Yeah. It's not over. It's one of those things that, hey, you can look at this as a warm-up game. Yes, we might have made some mistakes, especially early, but you learn from those things.
Yep.
It's either you win or you learn. There's no such thing as losing in a battle royale because sometimes it's just unlucky and you can just blame them or your teammates. At least that's what I do. But in the meantime, you continue to fight. That's all it is just you need to have the never say die attitude so that you continue to fight. Make sure that your team is in place. I think that teams need to kind of play together more and not worry so much about looting and everything. Just making sure that they're, on the same page.
Yep, never say die, huh? I can understand how the shade are constantly throwing right at me, even though like, oh no, stop,
Yeah, this is why, I like to blame you or I like to throw grenades at you, even if you're on my team.
Yep, I suppose. Oh, that gives. Well, these kind of things will always happen every now and then. Some friendly fire. Friendly fire, they're not on purpose unless your name is Holler. And of course, Holler is my best partner over here that will be bringing you through the entire commentary. And of course, if you do love his voice, if you do love his everything else, of course, you can take a look at him at, I believe, Holler TV.
Yeah, you can find most of my social media is on Holler TV, and they can find you at what? Such Abstract?
Yep, you can pretty much find me at Such Abstract everywhere.
Yeah.
I do have TikTok, but I haven't even done anything on TikTok.
That is
I
a
should,
travesty.
though.
That is a travesty.
Yeah, but Instagram is pretty much the one that we both kind of dabble in most of the time. We do have I do have Twitter. Do you have Twitter? Actually?
I do.
Yeah, you have Twitter. So we can kind of work around with that. So make sure check out our social media if you'd like to find out more about our lives. But for now, I believe that you guys would want to find out a little bit more about game number 2, and that is going to be happening right in Kalahari. Yeah, awesome.
All right, we're rotating in. The plane is coming down a little bit differently from the last time, right? And the fact that it's going south is very different. But if we're looking at the same play of what Loud is doing, is going to be staking up top. They are going to be in the north inside. They do this almost every single time. I wonder when other teams are going to start to, get privy to this and start to change up their strategy. Maybe they force the issue when Loud are kind of weaker in the sense that they're not as, well equipped, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I have always been preaching this. When it is at the start of the game, especially since we are talking about Kalahari, this is the point in time that you would want to go aggressive. If you find yourself in a place whereby you can fight other people, or rather you are close to another team, you would want to get yourself closer and try to bring the opponents out, because the chances of you being third party, also known as being vouchered out, is very low. So the chances of you fighting the other team, and in the event that you win, you pretty much have control and dominance over that very place, and no one else will come and steal it away, or rather kill off the remaining weaker stragglers.
And you got to kind of balance it out in the sense of being just over-aggressive, especially when you're weak, versus, trying to get that loot. And you saw the power of just how much loot can help you, right? If you've got all those grenades and everything, you're going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially later in the game. So it's a bit of a balancing act. It's going to be interesting seeing how teams end up playing it. But right now, it just seems like nobody really wants to fight. Everybody's going to loot.
Everyone's just going to be looting whatever they can. And of course, a little bit of a scouting mission for those people that have looted whatever that they need. But since we're kind of looking at Singularity just now, the most important thing that I would want to put your eyes on is the fact that we do have Kadarov as well as Merz. For those people that find that that name is pretty familiar, but the tag is not familiar to their name. Yes, that is because they were in Sponia's CHR's team, and these two are the players that I pretty much have my eyes on. I want to ensure and of course have my eyes on them to see if whether they are definitely going to be a league of their own by themselves. But Nazar's, well, what can I say? Nazar's is the one that I also want to put a lot of emphasis on him, because in previous tournaments, he's fared very well.
Yeah, he's been, the MVP of this team. He gets the most kills. He is your number one target. You got to make sure that you find this guy, or else he will come out and scythe you.
Oh, damn. That is one thing that you do not want to have. The giant scythe that he's carrying around on his back. Ouch! Imagine that happening to you in an international tournament. I really don't want to see that happening. But in the meantime, we are currently 3 minutes and 20 seconds into the game. We still have 1 minute and 30 seconds before the circle even shrinks. And of course, with the circle exposing itself, it is going to be at the northwestern side of the map. and is going to be covering a lot of places except for Council Hall, Confinement, Santa Catarina, as well as Stone Ridge, and maybe half of the Sub and half of the Mammoth. But everywhere else in the center is pretty much covered. And whoever is going to put themselves into Refinery, that of course, is going to be the best place possible. But you can pretty much be expecting that there will be a high amount of traffic heading towards Refinery.
Yeah, people are starting to make their way to the middle. You see GDP, SNG, and First Raiders, they've already landed there, but everybody wants the middle area.
Yep.
HQ is even making their way in. Refinery is going to be a hot spot. We're going to see a lot of action, and it's going to happen very, very soon.
It's great high ground after all. Everyone wants to get a piece of that pie, but in the end, this pie is going to be snatched out by everyone else, and is going to be left with a mess. And speaking of mess, it does seem like we do have Singularity that has gotten themselves with the highest point in the map, and right now they are onto this telecommunication tower. And they do have a really good eye over Refinery. So it is going to put themselves onto the radars of the opponents. But of course, everyone is going to be in the radars of whoever is at the top of this tower as well.
Yeah, the best part about being in the high ground is the fact that you can just look down upon people. I just like that.
Oh, I see. So that's kind of the thing that you do.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense, I can't do that because I'm short enough as it is. So
no, but if you get just elevated, like if you stand on the chair, then you're taller than everywhere. You just look down upon people, right?
That works, that kind of works. But you know what doesn't work? Merce and the South. It does seem like Singularity is the one team that is unfortunate because they have been knocked down by the red zone while we were busy talking about looking down on one another, like me and Horror herself. But Singularity, this is not the best way to go. I really hope that they are able to get themselves picked up, but they are pretty far away from the main body of Refinery, and that is where GDP as well as First Raider is at. But speaking of First Raider, they are split into two. We do have I Am Souza that is all alone at the northern side of Refinery, but unfortunately for HQ, they have already scouted out where are the main body of First Raiders. And thus, GDP, they got a good idea of that, and they have gotten themselves at the top of Refinery.
You talked about third partying earlier, but you look at Loud, and these guys are just waiting to pounce. They want to not just third party, they're probably looking at the fifth party at this point because there are just so many teams here. First Raiders going in against GDP. There's getting a little bit of a firefight action. Andres with a nice little shot onto I Am Souza there, getting first blood.
That is going to be the first member eliminated, but it doesn't mean that, First Raiders is out of the game just yet. God's plan, they definitely have some plans that's just kind of hidden inside of their sleeves. They do have an ace, I would assume, but they are definitely not going to be exposing that ace anytime soon because this is only second game. We have a total of 6 games to go, and thus 4 games left for them to do something about a score and of course try to aim for the top 3.
Not the easiest places to be, especially if you're in the middle. You don't really want to be in that because, you got to survive. Yes, you want the kills, but at the same time, if you can't get the kills, you want to survive, right? And New Gank here, playing a little bit differently. They're all the way on the top left. They've been kind of patient. They've been sticking around. They don't want to fight with anybody. Viceroy top right. AAA all around, making their way literally all around this place as they go in the entire eastern side of the map. So
yeah, it does seem like a tackle around. They would want to play around the extremities of the current circle. So instead of playing in the center, like many of these teams is trying to do, a tackle around. They will want to play in the extremities and perhaps even take and absorb some of that storm damage. If they were to go up north in this counterclockwise direction even more, then they are definitely going to be bumping onto Viceroy. But so, well, if they are able to beat Viceroy out, that pretty much means that Viceroy is not going to get any points for round number 2, and that is going to be a big blow to their score.
Yeah, they're going really deep. They're sticking into the storm. They don't care about the damage or whatever. Are you okay? Do you play like this in terms of like the gatekeeping style, like all the way in the end?
Nah, not really. I play more of the center, the center part of the circle. Only when it comes to like first and second and third of the third circle. Fourth, fifth, and sixth circle, I typically like to play in the extremities as well. Can you imagine yourself playing in the sixth circle and your entire team is right in the middle of a plain grass field and you're just putting up glue walls in the north, south, east, and west just to ensure that no one hits you while everyone knows where you are. Just lobbing a little bit of grenades over there is going to be guarantee a wipeout for your team.
Yeah, and that's why you kind of like. For me, I definitely like to stay on the extremities. I just kind of stick on the side, but it really comes down to what buildings are available to me, what sort of cover, and then I'll kind of change my play style and my strategy with my team just based on what is available to me.
Oh, hold on a second. Take a look at this. Singularity, they're getting themselves closer, and I see a ragdoll crate all the way from the top part of the ridge, but it's pretty much okay. We've got Woodpecker, we've got Icebun, we've got Ice Gun, we've got a Graza, but unfortunately, no grenade launcher. We are not going to be looking at any pew-pew anytime soon.
Yeah, definitely not at this point. But they're going to kind of stick around. Again, this is what? Just the second circle here. This is probably one of the bigger ones because AAA, you know, Viceroar, which we both talked about, all the way on the end. They definitely need to start making their way in. I think they've spent a little too much time on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, they are not going to get any kills at this point of time. But, you know, I guess they're kind of adapting to how game number 1 was because they kind of understood that, you know, this lobby itself, oh, hold on a second, this lobby itself is not very aggressive. That's what I was trying to say. But, you know, the aggression is going to start right here. Katarov is going to be eliminated early into this game. Boskvin, the next one that got shot down. This is not a great start for the side of Singularity. And another member was not able to get picked up anytime soon. Nazal's being knocked down too. The entirety of First Raiders, they have managed to get themselves a total of 3 kills and only 1 remains. And that is going to be Merce, hiding himself behind this rock formation and playing some kind of verticality against First Raiders. He needs to get himself out of there because if he do not, then that is going to be an 8th place, or rather, a 9th place Singularity.
That was a really nice ambush. They just completely jumped on and they were just ziplining. They were just making sure that they got there. You know, SNG were just completely caught off guard right there. And First Raiders, you know, sometimes it pays to be the aggressor, and they really paid off on that one.
It really do. And we're having 3 kills to the side of First Raiders' names. They are definitely gonna be very contented and very happy. But for now, AAA, they kind of bumped against, you know, Viceroar. None of these members were knocked down, so they don't exactly have any information as to who these members are, who these teams are. I'm not too sure if Viceroar actually saw AAA, but the other side, AAA, they definitely saw Viceroar.
All right, look at the circle is starting to come. Viceroar, Crusher right there, just taking a swim in the river. I think you need to get on your feet and just, okay, now he's starting to run and just get back into it because he's got a long way to go. AAA, look at how far they are. They're going to have to zip line and make their way in, and it looks like they're going to just try to jump into Loud, which is probably not where AAA thought they were going to go.
This is not going to be good. They are flying all the way from the eastern side of the map and literally just kind of skateboarding themselves right in front of Loud. And they're pretty loud with their advances, and I don't think that Loud is going to leave them alone like this. Time Turner as well as Glue Wall being popped right up. Hoi Sang, he still have 5 total Glue Walls, so they do have a pretty good Glue Wall economy, but unfortunately they're playing a little bit of verticality against Loud. Loud is all the way down to the lower part of the ground, but AAA, they will want to be lobbing as much grenades as possible against them. 2 members from Loud, they are just going to be pushing themselves right on top of Hoi Sang, but if Hoi Sang goes down, that is definitely going to be the entire bodies of AAA to go down. He is going to be the very important one. He is the fulcrum of AAA. If he loses this this verticality, then that is going to be a easy sweep from Loud. But I'm just gonna say that Hoi Sang did a really good job deterring the aggression from 2 of the Loud members.
Actually, Cowan, Loud went in very hot. It was like a SWAT team that were coming in, and then Cowan actually got, you know, he took a lot of damage. He was actually at 5 HP, just barely got the glue wall up, was able to heal himself and then to res himself. But Mr. Frost looks like he just got headshotted right there, and GDP Andres is on a roll.
I really like what Loud did there, right? They wanted to go on the aggressive against their opponents, especially on the AAA, but they realized that, you know, they have shot their shot. They are staying a little bit too long, and they definitely do not want to overstay their welcome, and thus they just got themselves out of the equation, out of the situation before anyone comes in and third party them. And that is the last thing that they would want happen to them, being killed while being occupied.
Yeah, it's definitely not where you want to be. Very bad spot here. But look at this circle. Very, very tight. And it looks like GDP and, you know, there's going to be a little bit of action coming in. I think NWG, I believe believe we're all eliminated on this one.
Yeah, so they are gonna be dropped onto the 9th place, unfortunately. And we are gonna be advancing ourselves into the 4th part of the circle, as now the circle slowly shrinks, and a lot of teams is going to be at the northwestern side of the refinery. You can pretty much see there's so many teams right about here. Loud is going to be right in front of Merz, and he actually stood his ground pretty nicely. So, SNG, they're gonna go straight down. Darkle is going to be getting himself the sniper rifle up and gets a shot down onto Vince. Joker from First Raiders is going to be eliminated as well, but of course, first things first. They have to resurrect their own fellow friends first. Save first before going on the aggression. A triple kill onto the side of Darkle. They are doing pretty darn good. That chaotic front at this very platform is definitely the chaos that I was not expecting.
Yeah, Jordy here with a nice little knock here. Bruno making his way around. Will looking around to go around and try to find Bruno, but that pillar is there and that wall is just on the edge and they're looking to just skirmish here. Can they actually do it? And he does get the nice little kill. AAA does get eliminated. Will with that nice play.
Well, my oh my, that Vector Akimbo, that is what I'm talking about, right? As long as you're able to get your shots down on the opponent, the Vector Akimbo trumps over any single gun out there. The amount of time to kill is way too low for you to, kind of miss any single one of these shots. But in the meantime, quadra kill coming in from Omblock, and that is going to be big for them. HQ, they're going to be at the bottom of this very said platform where the chaos all ensued. But unfortunately, they are not alone. DA comes right in. Loud on the other side. They didn't manage to get the entirety of that First Raiders, but Omar came right in, killed the last member coming from Will. First Raiders is currently being eliminated on block. He is the one and the only member left from First Raiders, and thus that is going to be end of this. HQ, Tyson, as well as Neo now is going to be the 2 members left coming from HQ Esports, and we still have 5 members other than the 2 of them that is still alive. Don't forget, we have a single member from Godplan, we have 3 members from HQ, 3 members from DEA as well. Everyone is just way too close to one another. Neo now gets a really nice knockdown, or rather elimination onto Hard Crew, and that is a really big grenade as he pew over to the opponents. And now with only 6 members left, Neo now as well as Dyson, they are pretty much all done and dusted. HQ eliminated at the 3rd place. God's Plan is the last team remaining fighting against DEA. 1v2. How's this gonna be like? Omar, he's just gonna be hiding behind this rock formation. He's just gonna get a really nice shot on the Johnny, but unfortunately, he still takes down one person before he himself takes the kill, or rather takes, well, the down. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is gonna be a booyah over to the side of DEA. What a marvelous display coming in by DEA, snagging themselves that booyah right off the bat for game number 2. Thank you so much to ROG Phone as well as ROG headsets, as they are gonna. ROG is after all the official gaming gear of the Free Fire World Series 2021. What do you think of the whatever DEA has done so far?
Actually, I want to talk more about GDP Omar, because what happened was DEA and HQ were going into that firefight. It was a 3-on-3 firefight going in the action, and GDP Omar was just like third party.
Back.
He was staying all the way in the back, just surviving. He was like, I'll take whoever's left. And at the end of the day, it was 2 members of DEA, unfortunately not able to get the end kill in the end. But the fact that he survived, got second place, which is a pretty big win. You need those 9 points. It's going to be very helpful. Got the knock, didn't get the kill, but nonetheless, when you're down 1 versus 2, this is the best you can do.
Exactly. And, well, there's just so many things that's happening right below the platform to the point of time that I don't exactly even know what has happened, to be honest. As much as I want to say that I know exactly what has happened over there, but, you know, I can't be that honest enough to say that I know exactly who knocked who, because there was just so much chaos going on there. But all in all, we've got some of these big teams that, unfortunately, was not able to get themselves like super good kills or perhaps even good amount of placement points.
Yeah.
In fact, the 2 teams that I've been looking out for, of course, that is Loud as well as Vice Aurora. I believe that these 2 teams, they didn't do that well in this very game.
And another team that kind of sticks out to me as not doing as well as I thought would be Singularity. Right? I feel like they've been getting eliminated early. I don't know what it is. They've just been arrowed in. They've been getting picked off, whatever. They have not made an impact in today's play-in day. So that's a little worrying. I mean, yes, it's only 2 matches in, but now you got 4 left. Really don't have any room to maneuver it.
Exactly. I mean, we are talking about the fact that, a single game, it doesn't really matter on the grand scheme of things, but they all accumulate, right?
Yes.
This is just kind of like, even if you lose 1 round, it's okay. You have 5 more rounds to go. You lose 2 rounds, it's okay. You got 4 more rounds to go. But slowly and slowly, if you do not stay consistent, even if you get yourself 1 single booyah at the end of the game, were you consistent enough for the past 5 games in order to get yourself that top placing? Think about that.
Yeah, and there's really no more room at this point. You got to get top 3. This is the most important thing. This will let you, if you're, not in top 3, you're eliminated. You're going home with boohoo, 50,000, 40,000 USD, but at the end of the day, you want to get in the grand finals and have that chance at that $500,000, which is going to be played on Sunday.
Yikes.
You got to get yourself a chance. You got to be top 3.
There's just so much things going on about, and once again, consistency is key. If you are going to get like a single booyah, and then the rest of the game you just kind of flop, that is not what you want to be looking at, right? So the main thing that I want to look out for here is consistency. Who is the most consistent one? And it does seem like Singularity, they weren't that good in this very game. Vice Aurora, they were in 2nd place, but now they are in 7th place. Attack All Around, they were all the way down in 9th place, but now they are up to 6th place. So they're pretty much doing a little bit better in this very game. But DEA though, they were 3rd place in the game number 1. And now they are 1st place here, and thus that is a total of 19 points for themselves.
I think that it was only in just the match 2. I don't think we have the cumulative score.
No, this is not cumulative.
Yeah. That's correct. Because Loud right now, I mean, they had 24 points in that first game. They got 10 though. The fact that they got 5th place is actually not the worst, but still, I mean, a decent number of kills to keep them at least in there. Getting 4 kills is still kind of a high number. But look at that first Raiders, 9 kills in that one. That was a pretty monster game.
Right. Yes, if I'm not wrong, First Raiders is the one that put the end onto Loud. I think that we do have a little bit of a nice grenading going on there. But all in all, DEA, they are impressive after all. Consistency on the third place in game number 1, and then 1st place onto game number 2. So if you ask me, that's pretty nice. And all in all, this is the final standings as it is right now. 2 games in, Loud is the one that is still at the top with a total of 34 points. We've got DEA currently with 31 points, and of course, First Raiders with 27 points at 3rd place.
Yeah, and look at this. Anybody, yes, the fact that you have, the 34 points, 31, 27, top 3 right there, but 18, 18, 16. That's your 4th, 5th, and 6th. HQ's Esports are definitely within striking distance of at least that third place. This is not over. Do not go anywhere, especially tonight. We're going to see those guys definitely fight back and be more aggressive. Make sure they get those kills because they've got a long way and they do not want to go home.
Yeah, point lead, not that big of a difference for now, or rather it's not that big. But for first place all the way down to 9th and even 8th place, one thing I'm really surprised is Attack All Around, right? Even though, I did my homework, Attack All Around doesn't really have a lot of information on them, but, they are a very established team. So I do want to give them the benefit of doubt. But for now, the main guy that we're going to be looking out for is, of course, going to be Jordy.
Jordy here, 4 kills, but half of what Colin did last game. I mean, not to undermine what this guy did. He's still getting 4 kills in it. That's a monster game in and of itself. But Jordy here, played big. And let's look at the top 3 kills coming up right now. Jordy, of course, with that 4 kills. I'm back with 4. He had a monster game as well. And Dark Hole with 3 from First Raiders. 7 kills between the 2 of those guys. Yep. They're really playing on strong.
I mean, First Raiders is the one team that managed to get themselves a total of 9 kills. And that is pretty impressive if you ask me. DEA, they are the one that came into the play-ins from the Arab League, and of course their opponents that we were looking at before is VIP Esports. The very fact that VIP Esports managed to win against DEA so far, that means that VIP Esports, they are definitely going to be pretty darn strong. But, for now, DA, they do have the consistency down here. Yeah. So I believe that we can use them kind of as a power rankings to formulate how the other teams will be doing for now.
Yeah, and these teams are going to be strong regardless. We knew that they were going in. I mean, yes, they were the 2nd place of their region, but their region is incredibly strong, very, very competitive. And we're seeing that why these teams, like the Loud, they were in, Free Fire World Series 2019. They have the most amount of prize money, at least in the play-ins. I think it was about 46,000. So this is a team that was incredibly strong. They knew that they were going to go in, and we're seeing why with the consistency that you talked about and the performance that they have. But that said, let's go into a little bit of a break.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are right back once again after the conclusion of game number 2. We are pretty certain that DEA has been pretty darn consistent, and I would really want to congratulate them for doing so far. But game number 3 is coming up next. I wonder if whether they will be consistent here as well.
They've got to be. I mean, they got to pick it up, right? I mean, talking about consistency, I want to talk about the 6th place team right now, at least in the standings, which is going to be HQ Esports. These guys are from Vietnam. They are nothing but consistent. They are nothing but stable. But what we've seen so far is that they really need to get into that next gear. They need to really step it up. I feel like this is a team that was really underlooked. They need to kind of pick things up, make sure they get those kills, because right now we haven't really seen that. And then after that one, we've seen Singularity, we've seen Attack All Around, and of course New Gang. But all of these teams right now are at the bottom looking up. They need to really step up moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really reached the halfway point just yet. So I do want to hype up Singularity at this point of time. This massive curveball may be tossed at us very, very soon. And after all, I did kind of talk about Singularity just now. We've got Mers as well as Katarov, if I remember correctly. And they are pretty darn scary. And I do want to see them just kind of start banging up onto people if they have a car and just kind of drive over everyone else. But the most important thing, I do want to see the grenade launchers, because so far, all these games, we haven't seen like a very small circle just yet, and the power of the grenade launcher being out of the holster.
Actually, that's like the first game I think was the most passive of the two. I mean, we've only played 2 games or whatever. The second one, I mean, it might have been just the fact that like everybody was centralized and there was just so much action going in, but it really didn't have that breather, that time where we get to the 7th circle or whatever. Like we didn't really have that. Like things are just going to happen very, very quickly. So, you know, things are going to start to pick up. I think that in Purgatory Day, in the 3rd match, things might be a little bit more aggressive, I'm hoping, because it's definitely more fun to watch when you're seeing the, you know, the action happen.
Yeah, so there's so many things that's going on about. I believe that, I really hope that every single one of you guys that's at home, you guys have been enjoying the games in Bermuda as well as Kalahari so far. So every single one of these maps, there is a very different ways to play, you know, kind of different meta. Like especially for Kalahari, I usually like to tell people to go aggressive in the start. And as for Purgatory, I would tell them to go even more aggressive because the map is huge.
Yes.
We are looking at 3 different archipelago right around Purgatory. You can look at the southern side. You can pretty much be looking at the western side as well. There's just so many places to be running around. But once you get yourself to the center part of the map, it's just plain fields over and over again, and that is the only reason why I hate Purgatory, because there really isn't a lot of landmark in the center of, well, Purgatory itself.
Yeah. I mean, that's why it's called Purgatory, right? You have that open area, things that are going on. You don't know if you're going heaven or hell at the end of the day, but you got to be very, very careful with how you proceed here. This is a massive game, right? If you're on the bottom, now is the time to make your move. If you do not, you don't have any more room, right?
Yep.
We're going to get into the halfway point at this point, and if you're like, you know, 30 plus points, I don't think you really have a chance, and that's going to be in a bad spot for a lot of the teams on the bottom.
So I gotta keep my eye out on them. I gotta keep an eye on every single one of these teams, man. Well, so far, do you have any favorites so far? I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Like, no. I like Loud. Going in, I think the Brazilian teams are the best.
Right.
The reason being is that they have the most competitive meta. They've been playing a lot of the leagues, and like even the grand finals was just everything about it was fire, right? Everything was amazing. The action, and you're seeing the the MVP Nobru. We see this guy. We're gonna see him on Sunday. Like this guy is an absolute monster in this game.
You talked to me about Nobru before.
Yes, he's a very good player, and I don't want to hype him up too much, but he's kind of like almost like the faker of this game, right? He is very, very good. I think that I'm not going on a ledge when I say that he's probably one of the best players in this tournament, in the Free Fire World Series, but. This is somebody that people really need to watch out for, right? And, this is where the team element is more important than the individual play, hopefully.
Right.
Because if you can find the right plays and then maybe you can kind of get them, the right angles and the pickoffs and you attack all around, maybe you can kill him.
Yeah, I mean, one thing's for sure. We do have a really big Nobru's fanboy right over here. So
I'm not even ashamed. I'm not even ashamed of it.
Whenever we have the chance, right? Whenever we have the chance, we're just going to get him right on the stage and like, hey, Nobru, this is a fanboy. Sign on his back.
I'll be like, oh, Nobru.
I would love to see that. Not gonna lie, I really want to see that.
You want to see it? It's gonna happen on Sunday.
Oh
right?
yeah.
When he pulls up the Grand Champion and the MVP award, I'm calling it now. Here we go. Don't let me down.
That's a bold statement. We haven't even entered it onto Sunday just yet.
I don't even know.
Boom.
Yeah, but we haven't even done bold statements. Okay, I said Loud going in.
Right.
Who did you like though?
I've been sticking onto this one team for the longest time ever.
Singularity? Yeah, okay. All right.
No, not
That's
Singularity.
why they're down there. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, fine. Go. All right, fine. Who do you think has a chance?
Viceroy. Yeah, I've been hyping them up for a very, very long time. And if they happen to exceed the expectations of what I have for this game, or maybe if they start to kind of climb themselves up to the rank, I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about Vital Roar's history. At least, well, when I can say history, it is like less than 6 months, but well, it is very impressive, and I would really want to flaunt my power rankings at this point of time. So, well, as it is, we're gonna be jumping into Purgatory, game number 3 in a short bit. Oh. No, this one.
Getting some loot, and we're gonna see how they go in. But new gank, very, very close. Definitely need to be careful. They might be stuck in with Viceroar nearby.
Here's the thing. One thing that I did not expect is the very fact that, well, we have 3 teams that have decided to head their way over to the Western Archipelago, and only 1 team had decided to head themselves to the, well, Southern Island. Because here's the thing. Central, Fire Brigade, as well as Lumber Mill is the 3 places that I always hype up for. It's the best place to drop. It's literally the best place to drop them and the best place to go. And then you can slowly make your way over to the golf course, or perhaps even to Brasilia. But due to how this map is, and due to how the players are jumping right in, I am going to be expecting that there is going to be a massive, massive traffic and choke area right within Brasilia. And perhaps even, well, right at where DEA is standing on right now.
All right, again, look at this. First Raiders all the way in the bottom, kind of scattered about in the bottom area. SNG, Singularity just on the right. Attack all around are probably going to just kind of have a 3-party action going in this eastern border. But DA, centralized, Loud in the top. I really like, again, just how Loud plays with this.
Yeah, so well, in some sense, we are not too wrong about the fact that Loud likes to play passively in the early stages. So that is true. Loud plays early in a most passive situation, and then get themselves with enough equipment, make sure that they are ready for a big fight, and only then they would start to aggress against other people. The very fact that they got themselves into Mode House, it pretty much puts up quite a big statement, because you can't possibly say that, yep, I'm going to Mode House because I want to kill. No, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, well, you just sound like a serial killer when you say that. I just want to go there and kill. Like, yeah, that kind of freaked me out a little bit here. But Mira here, look at that nice little skin, that nice little Chinese, the chopstick in your hair. I mean, when in doubt, you can just have a meal. You got to find the other chopstick, of course. But nonetheless,
you understand
Mira
that you just pretty much insulted my entire race of people. But yes, we use that.
Of course. Bruno here picking up some loot, getting the med kits around. But Hoi-sang, this is the killer from AAA. He's going to look around, trying to get some loot here. But SNG, Singularity nearby, definitely need to be a little bit careful with how they proceed here.
Yep, I mean, as their name suggests, I really want to see them start to single out one of these players from AAA. These 2 teams, Singularity as well as AAA, they are not doing too good at when it comes to the entire score so far. And of course, when it comes to the entire score itself, I believe that we are pretty much going to be looking at a massive amount of points from Singularity at 11, and Attack all around with a total of 8. So I do want to see some really big fights going on here with Bruno starting up the big fight onto Merce. And Merce, man oh man, I'm looking out for him. Katarov, please don't die. You are the other member coming in from the Tasmania. And yes, he managed to get himself that nice kill onto Puck God. But AAA, they are definitely not going to let him slide. Oh! That double Vector. Vector Kimbo coming from Katarov and managed to get himself a really nice double kill right onto the opponent's feet. Katarov just going to be knocked down by Bruno, but that is not over. Mothman gets himself in the middle of the fields, gets a really nice shot down onto Bruno, and the last member left is going to be Caramel. He's all the way at the top of this mountain, and the only thing that disconnects these two players is going to be, well, these containers. And the Zeiss, he's around the corner as well. We managed to pick up Katarov, and this pretty much means that it is, well, a death sentence over to the side of AAA.
Bruno down, Hoysang down, New Gang completely eliminated already.
Wait, really?
Just completely out of this one already. Katarov is just turning it up. He's getting some kills here. He's doing a good job with that. HQ making their way around though, but you know, look at this. While all of this action is going on, again, AAA Carmel all by herself. Oh, by himself, excuse me. GDP, Ninja, First Raiders kind of nearby. Again, Viceroy, HQ completely on the wings. This map, you talked about the size of it and just how difficult it is to get anything going, but these teams are kind of close, at least in the southwest corner.
Yeah, I mean, once we are looking at this second circle onwards, we're definitely going to be looking at a circle that's just going to be wrapping around Brasilia, Fields, and Campsite, or perhaps even in the center of all of these. And the only thing that's in between of all this is barren wasteland. You don't have much buildings to work with. The only thing that you have is roads, ridges, small little buildings, and that's pretty much all. You don't see anything like massive buildings, you don't have ski lodges, you don't have giant containers. No, all you have is trees, trees, and trees.
Well, you don't like trees? Is that what you're saying?
No,
I kind of like trees.
I like trees.
I'm just saying.
They help me breathe.
You're like saying that there's nothing but trees. It's like, hey,
well,
have you stepped outside ever? You know, like there's a lot of trees everywhere. They help
to be
you out.
honest,
Okay, go outside, gamer, huh?
Well, you called me out. You called me out.
I'm just saying.
I do like to have myself some nice greeneries, but you know, I don't like eating vegetables, so I prefer to leave them alone as they slowly sprout themselves outside as they breathe carbon dioxide and give us oxygen.
Do you love nature so much that you're like, I don't want to eat any like lettuce, I don't want any veggies?
Have you seen
because
nature?
Of that?
Nature is beautiful, and this very view that you're looking at is beautiful. Okay, not the trailers, but just now, you know, that nice view. There's kind of like telescopic, you kind of see everything, the trees, the grasses, as well as a falling ballistas of fiery napalm. Yeah, that's pretty nice to me.
Okay, all right. Well, the napalm hit, nobody was in that circle, so that was crisis averted, at least by Viceroy, who are somewhat nearby, at least on the edge of that one, but they're not going to move in. But look at this circle, making its way to the east here. Teams are starting to get, make their way around, but HQ kind of furthest away, I would say, at least from the south. You know, they do need to make their way up. First Raiders now are going to look to just clash in with Viceroy on this bridge. And Crusher, what does he have out? His pan. Oh no, he pulled out the gun now.
Oh, pan. Okay, sorry. I thought it was something otherwise. But you know what? He's also going to be whipping out his scar and ensure that he's going to put on some scar onto his enemies. And it does seem like the other members at the end of the barrel is going to be First Raiders. Are they going to be the First Raiders or are they going to be the First Raided? Actually, the First Raided is the one that actually went over to the side of New Gang as they got raided out. So, unfortunately for New Gang, they are out. But, you know, Joker is going to be knocked down by Crusher as they did a pretty darn good job on the onto First Raider, but I don't think that they would want to continue this gunfight any longer because they kind of overstayed their welcome. They shouldn't play in such a long-distance relationship anymore. They should get themselves closer and closer, but of course still adhering to, you know, the safe distancing measures.
Yeah, they're staying at least, giving them their own team. As I say that, for Viceroy right here, just making an ambush going up the hill. They don't care about elevation. They're throwing up some glue walls, throwing out some grenades, and Papas is looking to just crest the hill at least. Not able to see anything. Throws out another grenade.
Ooh, Joker is not gonna be alone. He is going to have the back of Souza as well as own block, but unfortunately, he is a little bit too far ahead. I don't think that he have a very good eye of the opponents, and thus, if Viceroy is just gonna be jumping onto own block, there really is not much things that, you know, First Raiders could do. They have to play it a little bit faster than what they have because they are just going to be bunking behind every single one of these trees, and these trees, they are pretty far apart.
And Joker here, Scuttle's lucky penguin nearby. Look at this, Viceroy sticking really close. Joker getting some shots in. Does need to be a little bit careful here. Janito does need to heal. They're going to just kind of bandage up in the tent, but I don't know if this is a medical tent or not, but they're sticking together here.
Yep, this is not going to be good. Take a look at Umbach with the Vector Akimbo. Gets himself a really nice shot on the Menaces, as well as the other member. I believe that was Frank, I'm not too sure. But Darkle comes in from behind, gets a nice shot down onto Menaces as well. We're going to be looking at one last member from the side of VX, and Viceroar gets himself eliminated by First Raiders, and all that 4 kills is because of the head that has been torn off the shoulders of Viceroar. Well, First Raiders, well, I gotta have to keep my eyes on them now.
Chaotic fight. And to be honest, we're so close, we can hear them screaming in joy and just straight out aggression. It was like a barbarian just screaming as they were making their way in. They were just ambushing it. They were so close. There was a bunch of glue walls and everything. But just the amount of damage that First Raiders did, that was pretty impressive.
And at this moment of time, Loud is still dominating the leaderboards at this point of time with a total of 34 points, as you can see at the right side of the screen. But you know what? With First Raiders eliminating Viceroar with a total of 21 points, they are definitely going to be dropping way below 6th place, because HQ, they are on 20 points, and God's Plan with a total of 18. This is not the way that I want to see Viceroar getting out of there. But you know what? I am pretty darn happy for First Raiders. They have put themselves in a considerable lead in front of Viceroar, and now AAA.
Not able to do it. Cone here just gonna heal up. Loud is gonna still make their way up. They've been playing possum again. This is their strategy. They stick around. They stay, get as many of the easy points as they can just by staying alive. They're gonna stick together here. They have a bunch of utility. They do need to be careful about them. But with 3 teams eliminated already, and one of your favorites of Viceroar just got pointed out that we're just gonna go into the top 5 or the top 6 teams left.
And of course, your favorite team, Loud, is still in there. We'll see how long that they can last, despite how loud they
Brasilia. I can't even pronounce it. But Brazil, those teams are the best. You're gonna be proven, or I'm gonna prove myself. I don't know how that works.
I don't know.
On Sunday, we're gonna find out who is the best one. I feel like Brazil have the strongest teams, and we're seeing just Loud just kind of at least dominate, at least for now.
Well, we shall see. So for those people that really want to know, which team, which region is after all the best, you guys definitely have to check back in again on Sunday, which is 2 days from now. So make sure you come back and take a look at what we have got to offer. But don't go anywhere, because we are still looking at game number 3 here in Purgatory, and we are still not coming to the end of the game just yet. And remember, I talked about barren wastelands and in between of campsite as well as fields and everywhere else. Yeah, this is exactly the circle I'm talking about. You have nothing to work on except for trees, and trees. When you take a look at this, the only thing that you're going to be using for is going to be Time Turner, as DEA have 3% down. Jordy is going to be the last man remaining, but he definitely wants to get himself out of that. But really good glue wall manages to get himself, safe from that grenade launcher. And that, I jinxed it. New now, with the grenade launcher, has put down quite the world of pain onto DEA.
You saw the grenade launcher, you talked about it, and just the power, and look at this, more action. Joker getting the knock, Funky going as well. Ambach is just like, I'm out of here, I'm gonna go to another party. He's trying to get on this. Dark Old's just looking to just fight this one. They're just so close right now. HQ and FR just neck and neck right now.
This is it! That is gonna be 2 knockdowns coming from Neo now because of the grenade launcher. We may be gonna be looking at more, and Tyson is just gonna be using a little bit of quick swaps when it comes to the double sniper rifle over here. Umbach, he do have the size at the back of his back. I really want to see a little bit of slicing action coming in from him. But for now, I do want to put some attention over to the side of HQ with a total of 9 kills to their name. And now even First Raiders, they have 6 kills to their name. They managed to bring 1 person down. Joker almost died, but he's still A-okay, as he's just gonna get himself bandaged up. And he should be A-okay in no time. Naziles, the one that I was talking about, which is, one of the kill leaders that you should be looking out for. He also managed to get a single shot down. Tyson! Absolutely eliminated. And HQ, we're gonna be left with Neo now left.
Yeah, not much going left there. And you were just talking about how good HQ was doing, but then all of a sudden 2 members just died. So I feel like, hey, if you want to give a team a chance, you got to stop talking about them, right?
Yep.
If you want to hype up a team, just be like, hey, just talk about the other teams. Because you need to start talking about Loud, right? If you want to make this competitive as possible, DEA, talk about those guys. Okay, but those guys have now eliminated as well. So it's looking to be top 5 teams left. Singularity, HQ, FR, GDP, and Loud right now. And, you know, with Loud and GDP with a full roster, they are definitely in the driver's seat.
And now he is eating quite a bit of damage coming in from the Storm. There is one single team in front of him, and that is going to be First Raiders, and they are just gatekeeping this very place itself, ensuring that now don't go anywhere at all. But I think that now he have accepted his fate. There is really not much places that he can go, and thus he has been eliminated by the circle instead of giving a free 1 point over to First Raiders.
For the record, he was definitely going inside and he was trying to get in the circle. There's deliberate suicides are not allowed in this. You can be punished for that. He was definitely trying to go in. Unfortunately, the circle was just too much damage. He was going to go down. Didn't really have much of a chance there. So HQ Esports gets eliminated there. Now top 4 teams going in. Who are you liking right now?
Well, I'm looking at Loud for sure. You told me to take a look at Loud, but for a meantime, First Raiders have managed to get themselves a quarter kill over to their hands, and they are your kill leaders. GDP have yet to get themselves a single kill. Unfortunately, Andres, he's currently being knocked down. Karma as well as Omar is going to be the last 2 members remaining from the side of GDP, but hey, it's okay. They have managed to get themselves right up. Darko with a nice shot onto Nazias as well as Mosfin. That is a shot after shot after shot, and Nazias, there is just no way he can get himself out of the crosshairs of Joker. Katarov coming from Singularity is going to be the last man remaining from Singularity, and they're just kind of holding down the ground by their buggy behind this tree, and this is the only way that they can get themselves alive or even play by the placements. First Raiders, we gotta look out for them. Loud, we gotta look out for them as well because they have just started a fight with a grenade.
Yeah, they're still up with full roster. All 4 of them still alive. Katarov just staying alive. I mean, just sticking around, just trying to stay alive as long as possible. Hopefully the other teams will eliminate themselves. SNG does get eliminated first, so that's a pretty big win for them. GDP now, 2 left. They're looking to just fight this one. Will is just turning it up and just tearing it around. This guy, he's got what? 1 kill to his name, Cone with 2, but they've only got 3 kills. Loud, still with a full roster.
And of course, First Raiders, they're just going to be moving in. Omar, he did a pretty good job despite not having a single kill. He did manage to get himself eliminated at 3rd place, and that is 8 points for his team. Loud, they are going to be in front of Umbak, but Umbak is just running right in their faces. He doesn't even have to do anything. And Loud is eliminated at 2nd place. And thus, we do have the champion over here for this match number 3. And that is gonna be a booyah going over to First Raiders.
and that was a booyah by First Raiders, and we just saw how powerful this team is. I mean, this is a team that came together from a national TV show, and then they're sticking together, and you're just seeing how well they played. I mean, Umbach was on point, Darkhole was well, but a quick shout out to our sponsored ROG, their phone and their headsets, both official gaming gears, FFWS 2021. But, you know, First Raiders, what were your thoughts?
First Raiders, this kind of seems like as though like First Raiders, whenever that they have a momentum, they're going to be riding on it. They're going to be riding on it downtown. And I don't think that this is something exclusive to First Raiders. This is very exclusive to many other teams out there as well. Like Loud, game number 1, once they had a great start, they were snowballing all the way through. And they're just getting themselves into momentum over and over and over again. And that is kind of, that pretty much makes things very important. Once you find yourself in the momentum and you know that, hey, I want to go for the booyah, we can go for the booyah, let's get a booyah. And once you get yourself the booyah, it does seem like you always come up on top with a massive amount of kills.
Yeah, and okay, this comes back to the whole, you know, you cursing the different teams, right? Every single team that you talked about, you're like, oh, Viceroy is going to do so well. They get eliminated very, very early, and then all of a sudden now you're going to talk about Loud. They get eliminated. They were in the driver's seat. They should not have lost that booyah. That is a huge opportunity for First Raiders to pick that one up. That was actually massive for them to get this win. A tremendous game, and we're going to have a very epic second half that's going to be coming up with the next 3 matches.
I am stoked. I am very much stoked. So right now, you're telling me that I should be talking a little bit more about Loud and talking more about First Raiders and DEA, because they are currently at the top of the leaderboards. If I am not wrong, we'll be jumping onto that real soon though. So I'm just going to shut up about Singularity as well as Viceroy. In the very event that I shut up and they win, you know what? I am done with the Caster's Curse. I am done.
All right, you're going to go back on it, and we're going to see how that one plays out or whatever. But to be honest, it seems to be like every single time you compliment a team, they tend to drop down. I don't know if they've got like the earpiece, and they're like, oh, Abstract says we're good. And we're like, oh, we're going to play a little bit worse. Because we've seen a lot of that element, at least today.
You know what? Instead of complimenting them, I think it is time for me to start throwing them to the ground, just kind of punching them. And like, you're not good enough.
Maybe you need to change up your parenting style. This makes a lot of sense to me.
I suppose so. I suppose so. I'm learning a little bit.
Things that I've learned is that as long as you don't compliment me, I'm okay. Because, you know what I mean? Like, all this bad luck will happen. You know, things will happen to me, and I don't want that. So please don't ever compliment me, okay?
I see. Understand. You are very beautiful, by the way.
Oh, please don't. Oh, God. Not like this. All right.
All right. So for now, let us just take a look at the Game 3 standings. And like I was saying, you know, about the momentum, that is going to be, well, First Raiders. My oh my, a total of 25 points. Pretty much pulled a Loud in game number 1 just now.
25 points, that's pretty crazy. HQ Esports, and we did talk about how strong that this team was, right? They were 6th, they needed this game, they got 15 points, a massive win for them. Yes, they didn't get the booyah or whatever, but I mean, the fact that you got all of those kills are very, very important, right? Look again, bottom one, DEA won the last one, got 0 kills in this game. They're looking on the bottom, looking up. They only got 5 points. That's a pretty bad game for DEA.
Man, DEA. But it's okay, because the most important thing is that I was looking at, you know, some of the most impressive players, and as well as, you know, the consistency that I've been talking about. And First Raiders, you know, very consistent, very, very consistent. Because right now, they have managed to launch themselves all the way up to first place with a total of 52 points, followed by Loud at 47 points at second place, and then DEA 36 points at third place.
And this is the play-ins, right? You don't have to be the bride, you don't have to be the bridesmaid, you just need to be the next one in the sense of being the top 3. Right? DEA right now, you are incredibly vulnerable. Everybody wants your spot right now because they want to play in the grand finals. They want to play for the money. If we're looking at the MVP though, First Raiders Darkhole,
of course,
7 kills.
Of course, we saw a lot of neat sniper shot from him, didn't we?
Yeah, he was on point. He was kind of just cleaning up. Umbach was clearing the way for him, doing a bunch of damage for him, and we're gonna have to do the whole damage like outload at later on. But let's look at the kills. Darkhole again, 7 kills. Joker though, 3 kills, really backing up Darkhole there. Artemis right now with 3 kills as well. HQ, they had a pretty strong showing from this Vietnamese team as well. So just great showing overall, and we're gonna have it even more competitive, and we're gonna see how the second half of the play-ins plays out.
Well, one thing's for sure. I'm not talking about Voice Roar as well as Singularity because I do want to see some nice underdog moments, you know. So underdogs is something that I've always been looking at. I just want to see the lower half of the brackets just suddenly just turn it all up, turned up, and just destroy everyone in the first half. That is something that I'll always be looking out for in an esports tournament.
Yeah, and we might be able to see that as we go into the second half, but let's take a little bit of a break before we do get into that one. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Free Fire World Series play-in 2021. My name is Huller. This is Abstract. We saw 3 monster games. We see First Raiders first place, second place Loud, third place DEA. These 3 teams, are they guaranteed in?
Well, not guaranteed yet, because we are only looking at the first 3 games that have been concluded. We still have 3 more games.
Yes.
Anything could happen, because if you take a look at things, right? We are looking at a team that have roughly about 50 points overall. So we can be sure that in some sense, with a level of consistency, you can get 50 points. And anyone else at the bottom of the leaderboards, if they are consistent like the first half that has happened, they can climb right up, provided that the first 3 teams, the podium finishes, they are doing really badly.
Yeah, they haven't. We've seen some chinks in the armor, so to speak. I think that there's a little bit of a play for the other teams to kind of make their way in. I mean, HQ Esports, they got, 9 kills? They were second place in the last match itself. Like, this is a team that was 6th place going in, but that really puts them in the prime position. DEA do need to be worried. They only got 5 points in that last game. A really terrible game by DEA.
Yeah, there's just so many things that's going on about, because whenever a team decides to go on snowballing and all that kind of stuff, they kind of overshadow every single one of these teams. So in one game, we are looking at 2 elite teams, while all the other teams struggle to find themselves even a single kill, even a single point. Because we reference back to game number 3. First Raiders had a total of 13 kills, and then HQ Esports 9 kills, and that put them in the total of 25 points as well as 15 points respectively. And then everything else afterwards, Loud with 4 kills, Singularity with 4 kills, God's Plan with 0 kills. Every single one of these teams at the lower half, they struggle to find them kills, because this is just how it is. Once you find yourself in the nice spot, you realize that, hey, I'm killing a lot of people, I'm on fire, I'm just gonna get killing. That confidence gets to you and don't necessarily backfire.
That's true. And okay, so you watched a lot of Viceroy before in the past, and this is kind of why I understand. I've been ragging on you, the fact that you've been like right on it. But the thing is that what have you noticed that they haven't done as well that they previously did in the other leagues?
Well, this is definitely what I'm looking at, right? Because I've always been looking at Viceroy, like they are consistent in their own legitimate stance, right? They are not like super elite in their own playoffs as well as the play-ins by itself and FFCS, but consistently they are getting themselves points after points after points. They have a good amount of booyahs, and when they do, they really go all out. And this is the snowballing factor that I've constantly been talking about. So we can just be sure that as long as in the middle stages of the game, we start to see a team that's really like ramping up on fire, we're gonna be looking at that, baby.
Okay. All right, so you've got some credit, or you have got some talking points at least from Viceroy.
Yes.
But like, okay, now talk to me about the homegrown team, a New Gank.
Right.
What do they need to do?
So, New Gang, they have been playing very passively all the way at the start of the game, because it does make sense, right? Because every single one of these teams that they're facing, they have a great level of mastery when it comes to using weapons, quick swaps, grenade launchers. They do have really good raiding tactics. They do have really good breaching tactics when it comes to inside the houses. They kind of know how they would want to pincer against the opponents. But unfortunately, New Gang, they are not very accustomed to these kind of movements, because the meta is different. They don't have necessarily enough exposure against all these other teams, because they are homegrown and they are relatively inexperienced in some sense. So this is a great playing field for them to kind of understand how each teams in other regions play, and then they will try to formulate a strategy. But at this point in time, we only have a total of 6 games. So this is the end of the first half. They need to think of something that is able to kind of encapsulate the entire game into singling out one person after another. They have been splitting themselves out a lot, by the way.
Yeah.
So I think that it is about time for them to just kind of hunker down, bunker down, and just kind of find themselves some kills, perhaps.
So you touched on a decent number of points in the sense of having a meta, right? And I think that Singapore, and not to knock the Singaporean league or whatever, but the fact is
we total a lot.
Like New Gank right now, they had in the Singapore qualifiers, they had 5 booyahs, they had 119 kills.
Yep.
Okay, that was more than double any of the other teams in the grand finals. Okay, so that's saying that the level of play is a little bit different, right?
Very
and the thing is that if you're not really challenged enough, you don't really get better.
Correct.
Right? It's the whole thing of like losing and learning, right?
Yes.
And if you're stuck in, you're just like stomping all these noobs or whatever it was. I'm not saying that they're all noobs, but I mean, it seemed like it, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you're not going to be able to play. So this is another, you're going to see a high level play. You're seeing the meta, just very aggressive, the things that you haven't seen. And so you're going to be exposed to this stuff. So worst case scenario, yes, you might not get top 3, but you get money, which is either $50,000 or $40,000 USD. That's no small change, but you're also going to come out with life lessons, right? And we're definitely, Free Fire is going to be here to stay. You're going to be able to use that knowledge as you move forward.
Yep, so we are definitely going to have a lot more of these regional and perhaps even international games. So those people that's watching out there, make sure you do not miss out of more of these Free Fire action. And of course, try to get yourself inside one of these esports events, because who knows, you may be the next superstar. You never know, kind of.
So you would be the next No Brew. I'm going to say that now.
I suppose so, yeah. Just
trademark
nip it in the bud, or rather snip it in the bud.
Yeah, so the Flexor jerseys, if you are, you guys, the Flexor teams, I know that they're in Singapore right now, but they can just be hooking me up with a jersey at any time because, I'm definitely a fanboy. I want to get in on this train.
In that case, I do want myself a Viceroy jersey, even though they are not they're not performing as well as I hope that they have. But you know what? I've been sticking on with them for a pretty long time. I've been hyping them up, and I was talking about Viceroy itself, right? FFCS, they weren't doing like super amazing, and they were in like qualifiers and playoffs. They weren't like directly seeded in, and only from that I realized that hey, they are elite in their own play-ins. They do seem like they have a chance, and ever since day number 1, I just be like, guys, look out for Viceroy. Guys, look out for Viceroy, and they're just like popping off ever since then.
All right, so let's hop into the game right now. This is going to be Game 4 Bermuda. Here we go.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are into one of the match number 4, and we are looking at the really nice playing path, and that is going to be starting off at the southwestern side and ending off in the northern side. And most of these traffic is going to be happening at the kind of like a northern area, so we should not be expecting anyone to kind of head their way over to Sentosa, Kota Tua, Pochanak, or perhaps even Cape Town. We should be looking at more people towards Bimasati Strip, as well as that bridge that you see in between of Bimasati Strip, as well as Plantation in the later stages of the game.
All right, so here we're gonna hop in right now. DEA nearby, First Raiders as well. Darko, the MVP of the last match, he's looking great here, looking like a ninja. When in doubt, you run like, what is it, Naruto?
Yes,
Naruto.
I'm great. I'm happy that you're calling him Naruto, not Naruto. A T-O
I learned my
instead of a
lesson,
D-O.
right? Although for the record, in terms of pronunciations, I will make it better. Like Paris, I would call it Paris as opposed to Paris, right? So you're welcome. Paris sounds way better.
Then how would you pronounce H-A-W-A-I-I?
Wait, slow down.
H-A-W-A-I-I.
Howie?
Wait, really?
H-A-W-A-I-I.
A-I-I.
Hawaii.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Hi.
But okay, wait, you're going to talk to me about phonetic?
Yeah.
Right, what about tampines? Tampines. Really? Like a pine tree? You're gonna call it a pine tree? Really?
But you know what? According to Fluffy, Gabriel Iglesias, it is not Hawaii, because according to the people in there, it's actually Hawaii.
Yeah, well,
a food for a thought.
Well, it depends on how many drinks I have, and then my pronunciation will change depending on how many that is. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But nonetheless, you did not get back to me on Tampanese. We'll talk about that one later.
Right,
so I don't think you can talk to me about phonetic or anything. But back to the game. Attack all around, right in the middle. They are vulnerable to being attacked from all around.
Like literally. Because we're looking at Loud, that is just going to be holding themselves up inside a Bullseye as well as Shipyard. Very, very likely we'll be looking at them moving down south. We should be looking at GDP. They were definitely going to be moving over to the eastern side. And especially we're looking at Katulistoa with, Blue Zone. We should be looking at GDP Loud as well as AAA to actually make their way over to Catalyst 1. That is what I'm predicting. But the fact is, Bimasati Strip is such a good place whereby I believe that there could be a possibility that AAA, they wouldn't even move from where they are. If they would want to move, then yes, probably one person stays in Catalyst 1, maybe towards the northwestern side, and the rest just heads their way to Catalyst 1.
Yeah, and a tackle around having, you know, in terms of the standings, they really need some points. So maybe survival is the new strategy that they need to do. They're kind of sticking to their guns, excuse me, and they're just kind of sticking around, not really doing much right here. But at what point do you balance going out and picking up as much utility as possible, you know, but at the same time, you're very vulnerable because you're doing it?
You know, at this point of time, it's kind of understanding how much action is going on around the map, right? If you do not start to hear a lot of gunfights going on, that means that you can pretty much be sure that everyone have got a landmark for themselves. And only when you start to hear gunfights at some place, then it is relatively safe for you to run because they are having, you know, internal fights after bumping into the first place. So imagine for Loud, they are within a bullseye just now. And imagine if GDP is inside of bullseye as well, they're going to have an instant fight. And thus, you know that we have, well, two open areas in some sense, because two teams jumped onto one place. So one of the other landmarks is open. But in the other occasion, let's say that Loud is in bullseye and then GDP was in Shipyard. Now that Loud made their way over to Shipyard, this timing pretty much means that Loud has completed looting around bullseye. This means that you should be pretty much done with looting around your area as well. So it is naturally safe for you to farm in the opposite direction from where they supposedly came from. Like, go a little bit further.
Okay, all right. So, okay, when you talked about hearing gunfire and running and all that stuff, but generally speaking, when you play, what is your situation? When you hear gunfire, do you run at it or do you run away?
Oh, I actually run at it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I really like all these vulturing action because I'm cowardly. I don't take fights in my face, those kind of stuff, right?
So why would you run at it then?
Because they are so busy with their fights, and once they're done with their fight, there are definitely going to be stragglers which are, you know, barely breathing. And thus, I want to take that time to put a chloroform right in their mouth and just ensure that, you know, they don't breathe anymore and just kill whoever's left. Because they are going to be so weakened that is going to be free kills and essentially free placement points as well.
Okay, so you're kind of you prey on the weak, so to speak.
That is right.
Okay, all right.
Now that they put it that way, that sounds absolutely grim, but yes.
I'm just calling it like I see it, man. I think that, yeah, all right.
Not wrong. But you understand that you pretty much insulted me.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, you kind of set yourself up for that situation.
I did, yes, and thus I have no way to get myself out of that.
Yes. But speaking of getting out of Sentosa, new gang here. They're kind of dominating Sentosa down there.
Yep.
But they're making their way out. They do need to get in that circle, so at some point...
they definitely know someone is around in Sentosa because New Gang, they were all the way at the southern part of Sentosa, and DA definitely knew that, okay, this part is looted, yada, 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 yada. But New Gang, though, the way that they have been moving around is that they don't really have a great idea of their surroundings because Hard Crew is literally just tailing behind of New Gang. He did manage to get a really nice shot down onto Mr. Frost and just forced the erection of one of these glue walls. In the meantime, the back lines of DEA, we do have Jordy with a really nice sniper shot right on top of Mary Jane, and it does seem like Hazel is also going to be knocked down. Two members from New Gang is going to find themselves in a very bad spot. Mr. Frost, he jumped himself to the bottom of this bridge to ensure that he's going to be safe for the time being as Hard Crew brings out his barang and is just really trying to get himself from places to places. Mary Jane wasn't able to make full use of her positioning to try to get an easy one off of Hard Crew, as I believe that the marksmanship from Mary Jane wasn't up to par. So just like that, DEA, they did manage to get themselves a total of 3 kills, and I believe that the last man remaining here is Mr. Frost as he jumped himself down to the bottom of the bridge.
Mary Jane and Hazel going down, mother and daughter dying together, holding hands, making it as dramatic as possible, killing the women and children first, apparently. I think that is the new DEA motto there. Not looking great for them, but oh, nice grenade. Whew. Moshkin just really paying off there. Crusher is looking to secure the building, though. Moshkin's looking to throw another grenade, and he does get the kill, and he does get it. He gets a 3K there, or 2K, excuse me.
My God, that is 2 knockdowns followed by 2 executes, and that is, well, absolutely insane. And this pretty much means that we still have 2 members from Vice Aurora remaining. One of them is knocked down already, and one of them is still alive. And just like that, Mr. Frost from the other side of the map has been eliminated as well. Vice Aurora is going to be left with Papas. And for New Gang, we're going to be left with Mira. Off to a bad start for these 2 teams. As all the other teams, they're pretty happy about this. We've got Singularity that managed to get that 3 kills off of the head of Vice Aurora.
Yeah, Moshkin here just playing sniper, using the window and cover to his advantage, just trying to pick off HQ now. Looking to just, okay, he takes out the frying pan. He's just going to run over into the side, get to better cover. Tyson just getting some shots in here, but completely out in the open, a little worrying for them.
Well, this is going to be the end of the first circle, and everyone is pretty comfortable where they are in the southern part of this current circle, and of course in between of Peak, Clock Tower, Factory, as well as Pochnok. While Singularity, they are just going to be putting themselves at the bottom of the peak, and their position does seem pretty good for this very circle itself. They are going to be looking at first Raiders that is going to be at their western side. HQ is going to be onto their eastern side. And well, Vice Aurora, we don't really have to talk about him because he is all alone at the southeastern part of Singularity.
GDP and Loud in the top right here. GDP making their way to the circle. They've got a long way to go. Cone, on the other hand, all the way in the north, so far away. He needs to kind of regroup with the rest of his team here. Noda, they kind of need to stick together and allow to do this, right? They play possum. They stick together. They play very, very passively, but they do, you know, make sure that they secure everything in the north before they make their way down. Zipline going down just for Vinus here to kind of get with the group as they join up in Plantation.
As GDP, they are in Zona Plantation, and well, GDP, well, I don't know much about how they want to play this out. Sorry, they wouldn't in Plantation. They're heading their way over to Bimasati Strip. The silo kind of seems like Plantation is actually. But GDP, they're heading over into the newer circle, and right in front of them, although they don't know it just yet, it is going to be AAA. We should be jumping into that very part of the action soon, but with this very high bird's eye view, we know that First Raiders, they are just going to be hiding behind trees. They do know the presence of Singularity inside of the houses, while DEA, they're still making the move. They're still moving and moving and moving, doing whatever that they can to just kind of wrap around to the southern part of the circle. And speaking of which, Loud gets themselves an initiation right on to God's Plan.
And they're turning it up. They're Loud have found GDP. GDP were trying to make their way to the circle, but Loud is catching them off, doing just, you know, they're running in, they're facing the wrong way, and they ended up getting the nice little pick there. And Loud have found GDP. They do have the numbers, so they need to be a little bit careful with how they proceed. GDP, that is, and they're hiding around, not really much where they can go, considering Attack All Around are on the other side of this. So they do need to win this firefight.
Attack All Around, what can they do at this point of time? But, well, I don't know. They're just going to be gatekeeping this very spot, ensuring that Loud as well as GDP don't get themselves closer in. But the internal fights between Loud as well as GDP is the main thing that I would definitely want to look out for, because the storm is approaching. They have to do something ASAP. As Will, he makes his stuff around. He does have the Vector Akimbo, and it's just going to be literally wrapping around. I don't think that GDP actually saw where Will went, and this is going to be the first shot coming in from Will. That break through the silence as echo through the horizon with the death of Ninja. The rest of GDP, Kamar and Omar, they have to get themselves running into the center of the circle, or rather running into the circle. Omar is going to be left out. He's going to be left out straggling as Loud. They're just going to be holding on to their place. And Omar, luckily for him, he managed to get himself out of the sights of Loud.
They're running right now. They need to get into that circle. They need to make sure that they're there. Loud have been slowed down by GDP because they were trying to secure those kills. So if anything, GDP has been a bit of a hurdle in the sense of just slowing them down because Loud are stuck into it in the blue circle, that is. So they're going to slowly get whittled. I mean, it's not a tremendous amount of damage, not anything that you need to be worried about, but the fact that gatekeeping AAA are right there, Loud do need to be worried about that.
And Loud, they're sustaining considerable amount of damage just from the storm, but I don't think that this is enough to bring them down at all. So it should be pretty much A-okay, right? Even with the medic gun coming from Koan, so I think they'll be fine for the time being. They still have a bit to run. It would suck if Loud were to be eliminated right here. Take a look at this. They're taking their stride. They're moving as much as possible. They're going down towards the end of Clock Tower and of course at the western side of the current circle. But this is not the end just yet because shots fired coming in from the side of AAA as Caramel takes one down coming in from the side of Noda. This is not a great start from Loud right now. They were a little bit too aggressive just now, and now with two members being knocked down and eliminated, Loud with Kaon as well as Will left, they cannot be aggressive anymore. And what's even worse is Kaon got knocked down by the play zone, leaving Will all alone to fend for himself.
This was perfect gatekeeping by AAA.
Indeed.
They saw that Loud and GDP were in a firefight, and they were like, oh, the circle is coming. We know that eventually they need to make their way here. Loud was like, okay, they ended up winning against GDP, which is a great firefight, but the fact is, they were like, we're not in any condition to fight AAA.
Exactly.
So we have to go the long way around, and then AAA was just like shooting fish in a barrel. It was the easiest kills for them, and they ended up picking them off. Loud have almost been completely eliminated, and I think there's Will is the only one left.
Well, that is the basics of BR strategy, right? Don't take the fights if you don't need to, right? You don't have to be overly aggressive just because you want to go for the kills. Understand where you are and understand that the opponents have to get themselves inside of the safe area, you know, sooner or later. And if you do have the upper hand, then just hold on to your ground and just bring out the firing squad. And in the meantime, it does seem like we have a total of 2 teams out for now. Vital Roar at 8th place and New Gang on to 9th place. Coming up next, who is going to be the next one to be eliminated? Is it really going to be Loud though, or will Will be able to hold it all the way out until the last few circles remaining?
And AAA Hoysong has decided to Grand Theft Auto it in the sense of just pulling out that nice little car here. But oh, Dyson with a nice knock onto Hartru. He does get the pick off. Very nice play by HQ Tyson.
It doesn't seem like it's going to be the end just yet. Yes, indeed, we're going to be looking at really nice shot coming in from Funky all the way from the top. Some verticality action as Nazal's coming in. He also got more verticality onto the side of HQ. He's going to be firing down. He's going to be ensuring that he brings people down to the ground. And of course, putting the final nail in the coffin, but the execute is just not there yet. The kills are coming in left, right, and center. Darkle gets one. Nazal gets one as well. GDP is finding themselves with their back against the wall as Omar is literally with his front against the wall actually because of the glue wall that is popped. And now GDP being eliminated by Singularity. Total of 6 kills for themselves and a total of quadra kill. A competitive game coming in from here. AAA eliminated by First Raiders. First Raiders has shown that they are definitely a force to be reckoned with. And these two teams, Singularity and First Raiders, they're gonna be going in neck and neck. They would want to fight it all the way out, but First Raiders, oh god, they got knocked down. I am Souza, grenades after grenades after grenades. Merce is just gonna be running right in. He does have a shotgun with him. He wants to bring every single buckshot, slugs onto the opponents, and Loud is now eliminated from the other side of the map as DA is going to get their hands dirty. HQ HQ eliminated as well. First Raiders down to the ground, and that was literally the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, Nezai's Singularity have turned it up. Their grenades have been like almost homing missiles as they make just arrowing in, making sure that they do get it. Nezai's gets another knock. I mean, this guy has turned it up. He's turned it on himself. Moshkin with 6 kills, Nezai with 3, and this team has 11 kills already. And you were talking about having a better second half, and this is the thing. Nezai's with a quadra kill.
And DA, Jordy is the last man remaining. He literally launched himself in front of the enemies. There really wasn't much things that he can do because the game is set. We are looking at Moskvin, which is, well, he took a lot of kills, but most importantly, Singularity with the Booyah! Game number 4 has ended with a loud bang, as it does seem like I didn't talk about Singularity, and they got themselves the Booyah.
And there you go. And the reason for that is because they're all playing on the ROG phone and the ROG headsets, both official gaming gear of the FFWS 2021. So really well done in the sense of not talking about them, giving that team a chance, but they really turned it up.
They really turned it up, man. So that is definitely something that I was expecting from the side of Singularity, but not something that I was expecting from Vice Aurora.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put a little bit more, you know, a little bit of salt over to the side of a Vice Aurora, because man, are they throwing hard. They aren't they aren't doing things right, and this is not the performance that I originally saw before. But you know, a little bit of hiccups here and there, and I believe that there is still a lot of plays that the other teams will be looking out for as well. But for now, I believe that what's most important is, of course, looking at, well, the teams that deserves the recognition, because so far I definitely do have my eyes set onto First Raiders, DEA, and of course Loud. At this point in time, these three seems to be the favorites that will head themselves over to the finals at this moment in time.
Yeah, but okay. Here's the thing. We saw 3 games that happened. We still had 3 games in the second half, right? We just saw one of those, right?
Correct.
But the thing is that those teams that were like in the middle area are really starting to turn it up. I think that they needed a little bit of a warm-up game. They still have a chance, right? Singularity with this win is a monster win. Moshkin and of course Nezas, and we're going to see the match 4 standings right here. Singular invincible, like just 25 points. You know, 24 of Loud in first match. You know, I think First Raiders got 25, in the last match. But DEA really stepped up here. 16 points. That's massive for them. First Raiders as well, 12 points. HQ Esports, all of these guys. And you thought Loud was doing all right. I mean, they had what?
Yeah, they're not so
points
bad. Yeah, they have a total of 8 points. But I still want to put more emphasis on the DA and First Raiders after all. They have been consistently getting themselves at the first half of the leaderboards without fail. And that is 4 games in a row. And that is impressive. Okay, not for DEA, alas. There was one game that they were at the bottom half of the leaderboards. But you know, if you kind of average things out, they are still pretty darn impressive. And the very fact that First Raiders was the top of the leaderboards when it comes to the cumulative ranking, they themselves at 12 with 12 points in the end of match 4. I don't think that they're going anywhere anytime soon.
Great position to be in. This is what you want to be in. You want to be top 2, top 3, consistently doing it out. And then we're going to see here, First Raiders, 64 points, Loud with 55, 52 of DEA. This is kind of what we're talking about in the sense of just who can get back into this game, right? Singularity, you're seeing that? They're in contention. They're number 4. They are just literally a stone throw away from knocking out DEA. But again, DEA has been very consistent. How are they going to do this? But HQ Esports, don't sleep on these guys. They have 40 points as well. And so we're very close in terms of just getting it in. We have 2 more matches. This is going to be as close as it gets. I think that maybe mathematically we might be able to eliminate a tackle around and I think new gank at this point. But I don't mean to be Debbie Downer or anything. But Moshkin, MVP, 6 kills, great game.
This guy is, after all, the one that has been landing quite a bit of shots. And of course, when it comes to the rest of the boards, when it comes to kills, I'm pretty sure that most of them still goes over to the side of Singularity, because Singularity, they popped off. They definitely did pop off for that for the previous game, and it does seem like, indeed, it is Nazars with a total of 4 kills for that part, but DEA Remind is the one that took himself the third place when it comes to being the kill leader.
Do not sleep on Singularity, right? This is Nezais as well. He was MVP. He had the most kills for FFPL CIS Season 2. This is a team that is just gelling well together. They needed those warm-up games, and we're seeing them 4th place.
Indeed.
Very, very close. It's going to be like as close as it gets as we get into the next 2 matches. Those are both coming up, and I'm really looking forward to those.
I'm pumped, man. But like you said, mathematically, even 8th place still have a chance to get themselves a nice bump up all the way to maybe even the middle part of the leaderboards. Because if you think about it, if the games are, snowbally like it has been so far for game number 1 all the way to game number 4, the top player, the one that gets home Booyah, can very likely get themselves a minimum of 20 points. And right now, if I remember correctly, we do have Attack All Around with a total of 20 points. Just because of one Booyah and the 20 points is going to launch them to 40 points, and they are pretty much in like 6th place or even closer to 5th place, if I remember correctly. So,
but you're very optimistic.
Very optimistic.
There's only 2 more matches, and the other teams are getting points as well, and they're always guaranteed points, right?
Yes, correct.
So it's very difficult to try to make up that, that gap that they need to figure out. But we'll find out very, very soon. Let's take a little bit of a break here before we go into match 5.
All right, this is it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be jumping and looking at game number 5 really, really soon. But let's wrap up a little bit about game number 1 all the way to game number 4, shall we? With game number 1, I believe that it has been given. The first game pretty much given over to Loud, and it was a convincing victory.
Yeah.
Game number 2 pretty much over to DEA. Game number 3 over to First Raiders, and of course game number 4 we have it given away to Singularity. So far, no multiple amount of booyahs. Every single one of these booyahs have been equally, being passed around equally. So I'm really happy about that. So there could still be a lot of fighting chance by all the other teams. But once a team start to get like double booyahs, that at this point in time, that is kind of like is it. They are in the podium.
And this is a game of momentum, right?
Yes.
And so, all you need to do, like DEA, we saw, second place and third place, and they're just kind of like lurking around. Yeah, you don't get the booyah, but in terms of points, you're still in it, right? That's all you need to do. You don't need to be the fastest car out there. You don't need to be the prettiest one, but at the end of the day, you need to be the consistent one. So you need to be that Toyota Camry or whatever it is, making sure that you finish the race, but you finish it in a strong way, that you're at a pacing, you're going at the right pace, and making sure that you're not getting, jumped or have a terrible game where you get eliminated early.
Yeah, but at this point of time, the way that we are seeing things, First Raiders, they are pretty much a Lamborghini right now. Although Lamborghini may be a far shot, because any team can still kind of take over where First Raider is at this point of time. But it doesn't really quite matter who is first, second, and third. As long as they are in the top 3, they are just going to be pushed over to the grand finals, and that is where things are starting to get important. Whoever's at 4th place, they have to level up themselves. They need to find ways to kind of just like nip it in the bud. We need to bring the 3rd place all the way down, kind of thing. And can you imagine putting yourself in a position whereby you are 4th place and you are just 1 point away to getting 1 point or 2 point away to getting yourself in the 3rd place.
6 teams are going to end up being in that position, right?
Yes.
1 point or 100 points at the end of the day, being in the bottom 6 will hurt no matter what.
Yes,
right?
it will.
So it's going to happen. Unfortunately, this is the way that this the format works. The top 3 are going to move on, where they're going to go into the grand finals. They're going to play against Sunday, and they're going to play probably the next tier up in terms of the teams. So in terms of the play-ins, we've got a lot going on, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you might have a great time and you might make a little bit more money in the sense that you're going to have an opportunity to play with the big boys. But at the end of the day, you really need to show up. Now is the time to make sure that you get your team strats working, your aim is on point, and that you can start to play and get ready for Sunday, because it's coming.
This is warm-up. This is literally warm-up. When it comes to First Raiders, I do think that for this very game itself, because they can start to kind of chill a little bit, have relax a little bit. Don't expose too much of their their cards inside of their sleeves. They don't want to give too much information, especially to all the other teams that are currently watching these very games, because the more information you give out, the more vulnerable you will be.
So, okay, that's an interesting point, because I feel like in a battle royale, you can't really be saving strats. There's no strats to be saved.
In some sense,
I just need to hit my shots. I need to, you know what I mean? Like, play it out. And yes, there are moments where do I land, right?
Yes.
How do I play these out? Like, what sort of utility am I looking for? Like, you can kind of look into that, and that does make sense. But at the end of the day, you got 2 matches left. Everything is so close. Really. Now is not the time to be saving strats. Now is the time to put the gas on, your foot on the gas, go as hard as possible, make sure you win out with as many points as possible, because you're making a statement as you go into the final stage.
Well, I guess that's how they say, right? End it with a bang, right? Despite even if you don't get any money from the play-ins itself, might as well show everyone who's the daddy, right?
Okay, that's this guy, not that guy. Because every time he parenting, he calls the team or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, I love this team. They do terribly." Okay. All right, we have the tape, we have the record, everything has been there. We know what Abstract is called and what I've called. Loud, my kids are still in contention. They can see the light of day, at least maybe Sunday. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Right.
But none of your kids are seeing the light of day.
The light of day, huh? It's okay. We will bask in the moonlight as much as we want, all right? We'll be the werewolves that you are afraid of.
There are people that are right, and there are people like you, right? Which is everyone else. So.
You know what? I would agree with you, but that would just make both of us wrong. You know what? In the end of the day, I'm just looking forward to see how every single one of these teams plays, and I'm just looking forward to see how Viceroy climbs himself out of this ditch, because at this moment of time, Well, the bar is already so low, but they just kind of bring the shovel to it, and you know, anything that they do at this point in time will only impress me.
So you call it a ditch, but I'm thinking it's a little deeper than that one right now, right? I
don't
think
want a
they
fire
got
trench?
a long way to go. They got to win out. They got to kill, like what? You have potentially 32 kills that could happen. I think you're going to need 20 plus kills. Get yourself a booyah. Get yourself back in the game, and then I'll believe. But until that happens, that's not. I don't see it.
You know what? I would like to play a little bit of reverse psychology over here. I don't believe in you, Faisal Roar.
I think that train is passed. All right?
This jinx has been going on for way too long. I need to get myself out of this ditch, or if you like to say a trench or whatever it is. I do want to see some nice underdog action. And if I really have to pull that trigger, First Raiders, they're doing so well. I can't pull the trigger on them. But DEA though, they are at the top, they're at the bottom every now and then, here and there. So I do want to see an underdog kind of flush DEA from the podium.
Okay, we'll have. In the grand finals. Maybe if I create my own team. They use the same strategy.
Breathe and drink. Ballsy move. They have two person inside a refinery and two players inside a foundation. As for HQ, they have two players inside of maze, or rather kind of like at the southwestern side of the maze, and the other two players, one of them is all the way at the eastern side and one of them at the northern side. So all of these teams, they're thin out, they're spread thin. And if there are any teams that decided to play aggressive here, man, oh man, that is a lot of food.
Yeah, it's a decent amount. And, okay, you're taking a risk, and I understand that. But, you know, the fact that they're doing it in a smart way, because you're taking Foundation and Refinery, you both are like a decent amount of loot there.
Yes.
And you're spread around, and the thing is that seeing as the game is so early, nobody really has the weapon to really fight.
Yes.
As long as that duo can stick together and play really well together, I don't think that it's that big of an issue.
Here's one thing, right? When it comes to the play-ins, one thing that I definitely did not expect is how passive it is in the early stages. Usually by now, you know, I will be looking at one team fighting with another in another tournament or in another Premier League or whatsoever, you know, because I think I get it, right? In the league, you are in Group A, B, C, D, and E. You can afford to take chances. You can afford to play things around. You can get used to other people's movements. But when it comes to a lightning speed round like this, in play-ins, you only have 6 games to try. The best thing that you can bet on is to bet on your equipments, bet on that grenade launcher, bet on that flare gun that just kind of pops up. So you don't want to put yourself in that very vulnerable position when you just immediately go for that rock, paper, scissors game against other teams. You want to be very confident with your equipments, then take fights that you are confident in. And I think that this is kind of this kind of throws a lot of these teams in some sense off guard, or rather throws me off guard, because this is a completely different meta after all. They don't have time to get used and familiarize themselves with the opponents.
Okay. Well, you got to be confident in yourself, and you got to shoot your shot in the sense of like having the right equipment that kind of matches your play style and all that. Agree 100% in that of just getting that loot and making sure that you do have a decent amount, so that you can start making that aggressive play. But for me, it's more about the team working together, sticking together, playing around. How do we approach things? How do we be aggressive, or when to be aggressive, and to kind of just turn it up? And if we're looking at New Gank, they haven't shown that. I haven't seen very many kills from that team. They seem to be getting ambushed or getting caught off guard. I feel like it's a lack of awareness of things that might potentially be happening, of where the enemy could be. That seems to be an issue. But Ambach, on the other hand, has had great awareness and has been on point almost throughout the entire night.
When Umbach, he's coming in from first Raiders, just going to be making their way all around Refinery. It does seem like the two players coming in from Foundation, they're slowly heading their way into... the two players from Foundation, they made their way into Refinery, so they're pretty much A-okay, if you ask me. But Singularity, we do have 2, 3, 4, in fact, I think that is all of Singularity. They're just going to be bumping themselves a little bit closer and closer into Refinery, and that is going to put them in a nefarious position.
And they're going to meet Singularity. I mean, they're just kind of walking around. I mean, we talked about how First Raiders were going to be a little bit separated, and there was a concern, but they're together now, and that's all that matters, right? It doesn't matter if, your family's not going to stick together, at least in the first minute, but in the fourth minute at this point, got to stick together. Now is the time that, you make your plays, make sure that you cover it. And as I say that, HQ, they're kind of sticking together, and they're all the way in the south end here, but they're in a bit of a firefight with DEA, and I can't tell who's got the advantage, although, Heart Crew here does have the high ground.
Well, Heart Crew having the high ground, and like Luke Skywalker always say, the high ground and the verticality is the way that you want to play things. You do have a lot of positioning issues if you are at the bottom part of the ridge, but one thing's for sure is that you can kind of bait the opponents to expose more of their bodies by having one person just kind of take a dash all the way to the bottom of that rock foundation. But of course, that pretty much means that you're going to put yourself into a very bad spot as well. So there is, some place that you can play things around. You can kind of, work it in. How you want to play it? Do you want to have someone as a bait or not? Because while we are talking as a bait, it does seem like coming from AAA, we do have a single bait out here, and that is going to be Pook God doing whatever that he can. Even jumping right on top of the containers, trying to get a shot down to Ren, but it does seem like Grenades is the one that eventually brought Ren down. AAA, they are getting themselves rolling in the deep. Or rather, the opponent is the one that's rolling in the deep as AAA, they're rolling. They're trying to get themselves closer and closer over to the side of GDP, but unfortunately, Karma is just going to be getting himself a decent amount of shot downs on the Pook God. But that is not enough to bring down the entire team of AAA, as AAA started off game number 5 with a loud bang, with the first 4 kills given over to them. GDP eliminated.
Oh, eliminated so early by GDP. That's a heartbreaker for them. They really needed a good showing this round. Not able to get it. On the other hand, though, if we're looking at just kind of how things are playing, New Gank sticking around, they're fine, at least in that somewhat centralized location. HQ and DEA all the way in the south point, but this circle is heading south, and we've seen a decent amount of action, but hey, let's give a little bit of credit, or again, the same strategy, and you're talking about how, teams can look at these things and then learn how teams play. Loud has been 100% in the north every single match.
That is true, yes.
They don't fight anybody until minute 10 or whatever, but they just stick around and they just constantly make their way south. Teams need to get onto this and understand how Loud plays.
Yo, you kind of cut short their homework right now. Whoever that hears this, they're just like, that is true. And then for the playoffs, if Loud makes it all the way in, they're gonna be jumping at every single southern part of the island from there onwards, and they'll be like, yo guys, Holler, he'd be spewing crap. They're not jumping into the northern side anymore.
Well, I'm sure they'll change it up. There's no way that they can do this consistently. If they, assuming, make it into the grand finals, I think that, if this seems like the play-in strat and they're going to stick to it, maybe they'll think, Loud is going to do this in the grand finals if they do make the grand finals. But Loud do need to change this up. You know what I mean? Like, this is just way too obvious because 100% the strat, dive north or drop north and then just make their way south.
What if this is all part of their conditioning? You know, kind of force the grand finalists to kind of make their way up north and just make everyone fight against one another, like how First Raiders made one of Viceroar fight against them, and that is Crusher being defeated. That is sad. That is hands down sad. We're going to be left with Papa, Almas, as well as Janito to be left within of Viceroar. I don't want to talk about them anymore because I could be doing some custom jinx right about here. But Mira, coming in from New Gang, is going to be finding himself in a very bad situation fighting against Neo now. And we do have a decent amount of gunfight coming in from HQ. They're just firing everything that they have onto Mira. Unfortunately, Mira, she's all alone once again. And like we have said before, New Gang, they have been splitting their forces up too thinly, and they are constantly being singled out by the opponents.
Yeah, completely isolated in a bad spot. Miro, like, Mr.
Shot
Frost,
off the air.
Where is your
off
husband?
the air again.
Right?
Why?
Newgate getting shot out, just trying to use the zip line. That seemed a very exposed position. And Neo now just cleaning them up at this point, getting some kills here. And Mira, this is like one of those things where when she went down, you kind of need to sacrifice her and move on.
Yeah, you know, at that very position, or rather that very replay, it kind of seems as though it's like a one token, two tries. Like, if you didn't get your way through the zip line, maybe I can. And they tried to go for the next one, but unfortunately, they wasn't able to do that.
Yeah, not great. I mean, you're just so exposed. This is one of those moments where, hey, if a player gets caught out, you can't make one mistake compound into your entire team getting devastated like this. You've been eliminated because Miro was in a bad spot. You decided to try to take a fight 3v4.
They should have ran.
They should have ran. And, you know, you need points at the end of the day. Maybe you can, get some nice little pickoffs later on, but going in aggressively, especially with a player down like that in a bad spot.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that New Gang, they definitely do know the extent of their marksmanship, and they have shown it throughout from like game 1, game 2, and I think game 4 as well, whereby they just kind of avoid team fights. But unfortunately, they can't avoid for too long in the end. They still gotta have to fight back the opponents. But this very instance is the point of time whereby they could have ran away instead.
Yes, yeah.
So, you know, I guess this is more of their decision making. Sometimes they're making the wrong calls here and there. This very instance, like you said, they should have ran instead.
Yeah. You should have ran. There's no way that they should have continued fighting on that one. I think that was, you lost a player. I get it. It sucks. But there's no reason to just go all in on this one, right? Not a great position here. And they paid for that. But GDP, and WG, both of these guys are out now. And this circle getting very, very small, and it's getting very worrying for some of the outer teams right now.
Yeah, because somehow right now, Viceroar, Singularity, as well as Loud, they are pretty happy inside of the next circle that's going to be popping right towards the eastern side of Command Post. And, well, we're talking about Kalahari after all. There is going to be a lot of, kind of small little buildings to kind of hide yourself within. DEA makes a nice flyover right into close to the center of the circle. They're going to be bringing so much attention, whereby Viceroar as well as Loud, they're definitely going to be putting quite some emphasis over to the side of DEA. Maybe not for Viceroar, because they know that they have a command post. They definitely would want to gatekeep against whoever enters into the command post. And that seems like, the victim seems like it's going to be First Raiders. I really hope that First Raiders don't bite into that trap.
Oh, but speaking of trap, HQ here, AAA walk into each other. I don't know who set the trap, but this is going aggressive. Neo now gets the nice little knock. The goo wall is going to be placed as well. Pokegon just trying to run for his life. Neo now has got a shotgun out. He's looking for somebody.
Oh.
Tyson with another kill there.
This is going to be bad, as Neo now, he's currently at 140 HP. He's just going to be shuffling his way all around Puck Guard. But Hoi Sang is going to be going down, and Neo now and the rest of his team coming from HQ, they have decided they're bailing out of all of this. They know that Caramel and the other members, I think is Hoi Sang, they are definitely dead. So instead of, overstaying their welcome, they decided to bring down, three quarters of the squad, get out of there, and allow Puck Guard to, kind of run his way inside the circle, or perhaps just kind of jump in and being laid into a trap.
Oh, Noda with a nice snipe there on Remind. He had the knock. He gets the kill. He cleans it up. Oh, that grenade. Okay, okay. HQ keeping it alive. DEA on the other side. This is a very awkward situation. Nobody really wants to make a move here, but that circle is starting to close. They do need to be a little bit careful here.
Oh no, Viceroar completely blindsided by the side of First Raiders. It does seem like First Raiders, they did not bite into the trap that First Raiders, that Viceroar was kind of setting, because they had a really nice commanding position. They're just losing the ground, and I don't know what's going on with the rankings anymore.
Well, something to, take account of, but Loud with 4 members again in a great position. They've cleaned up. They've made sure that they third party when they needed to, but now does get knocked down by the play zone. They do need to be careful here. Artemis is trying to go in. Noda with a nice triple kill.
And there we go. HQ eliminated at rank number 2, and that is going to put Loud being the first team to get themselves with 2 booyahs in the FFWS Singapore play-ins.
Loud, I called him. The second booyah by Loud. This is the team that had the most total earnings going into the play-ins with $40,000 USD that they've won. They had the most, and we just see just how strong this team is. And then they're completely dominating in this one. They get their second booyah. Really nice showing by Loud in that last match.
Yeah, I mean, because of the performance that Loud has been showing us in just within the planes, I can pretty much understand the power structure of the planes itself, and perhaps even in the finals, because Loud, they are impeccable. Like, they are really strong, and I just really want to care about the fact that, Singularity, they are also a strong team, but they're being trumped over by Loud. And Loud, well, this Brazilian team, they are strong. But they are definitely as strong as an ROG phone, as well as the ROG headset, which is the official gaming gear for Free Fire World Series 2021.
Yeah, both of those are very, very strong. The ROG, not Loud. No, just kidding. Loud is the strongest team. Who called that one going in this one? I knew that these guys were a monster. The Fluxer, I think, are the best team, but they tied them, in the last, La Brasilia, FF in the grand finals with 103 points. That is no small feat. Loud know exactly what they're doing. They've got it here. They're pretty much in the driver's seat. I think they're almost almost a shoe-in now. We're going to have to see the points just to confirm this. But the fact that they got that second booyah, a decent number of kills just to finish that round, really strong showing by Loud in that last match.
Yeah, and because of that, the fact that Loud, they got themselves such a great start, and looking at everything else, they have qualified for FFWS in January 2020 as well. That pretty much puts them as part of the veteran squad, right?
Yes.
They are a strong team indeed, and being the fact that they are the one that's being relegated down to second place by Fluxo, it just kind of got me into the power ranking that Fluxo is really like up there, right? Elite. And my initial idea is that, you know, we have Smonaya, right? Smonaya CHR, they are one heck of a strong team. And I acknowledge the very fact that they work together so strong as a team.
Yes.
They work together as the pairs, and the pairs, they are really strong. And thus, I've been putting quite a lot of emphasis on the side of Singularity. But Singularity, they haven't really been showing that big of a deal. They put themselves in match number 5, 5th place, while Loud topped off the leaderboards once again. And this pretty much means that there could be a very possibility that Silence, which have two of Smonaya's teammates, it doesn't mean, it pretty much means that there could be a chance that Fluxo, well, completely trumps over them. But this is like a topic for Sunday, right?
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But look, Loud, 20 points, 18 HQ, First Raiders, they were previous the top, so we're going to have to see if the 5-point is a differential to change that. But First Raiders definitely in a position as well. I think that First Raiders and Loud, we're looking at 1-2 in some sort of order right there. But HQ and, with 15 points, 18 points that is, that probably springboarded them over DEA at this point.
Yes.
But we're going to have to see the standings. I don't know. I was just doing some mental math.
That is what I'm thinking as well.
Boom, who called it?
That is what I'm thinking as well, yes. So remember how I talked about the fact that, you know, First Raiders, they are a little bit too strong for me to try to relegate them down, you know? It kind of hurts me too much to say that, but DEA is definitely a team that, you know, I can see that possibly happening. But, you know, here's the thing. We are looking at the end of game number 5. This is our analysis, right? Game number 6 will be coming up next, and that will be the last of the play-ins for today. And First Raiders is all the way up in the first place at 79 points. Loud is all the way up to the second place with 75 points. A massive lead of about 23 points away from HQ Esports and DEA. And thus, they're tied up.
Yeah, and Noda here with the MVP. We just saw 4 kills on that one. What a great performance by Noda's there in terms of Loud and just helping their team win. HQ, now, they really need those kills. Pretty massive with 4. Ambach as well with 4 as well. So, you know, this is one of those things where no room to maneuver. We're going to see a bunch of fighting that's going on. I think there was about 3 teams that are in contention. DEA, you know, very close as well. HQ Esports, all of these guys, you know, we're going to see an epic final game, and we need to finish this one strong because only, again, top 3 moving on. But let's take a quick break before we go into Game 6. Welcome back to the World Series of Free Fire. This is going to be 2021 play-in. We just saw some epic 5 games. We are down to the last one, and who's going to be the last person, or the last team, excuse me, to make it into Sunday's Grand Finals? We know that Loud is in, First Raiders in, and then we see a smorgasbord of, I think, 3 teams that could potentially be in.
Potentially, right? Potentially. In what we are looking at here is that HQ Esports, DEA, and Singularity. These 3 are so close to one another, whereby HQ Esports and DEA, they are literally neck and neck. While Singularity, they are just 3 points away from these 2 teams. And right now, we can imagine that anything could happen. In the very event that Singularity gets themselves like the top booyah or something like that, and it just so happens that HQ Esports or even DEA, even though they don't get themselves the booyah, but they still get themselves an ample amount of kills, and somehow First Raiders and Loud, they lose like literally all the way to 9 and 8. Can you imagine how big of an upset it would be, whereby the current the current leaders, 1st and 2nd, completely got relegated over to 4th and 5th just because of this one round?
That could be a problem. Yeah. So, okay, Loud and First Raiders, what they need to do is they need to just stay alive, right?
Yes.
At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what your placing is. As long as you don't get eliminated early, you're fine. So you need to ensure that you just stay alive, stick around, go to the north, which Loud will probably do. First Raiders will be somewhere else. But those 2 teams stay alive. The other 3, in my opinion, what is the sort of balance that you do? Do you need to be aggressive? Do you need to play it out? What are you looking to do with one of those 3 teams?
Look, I think that at least for these 3 teams, nothing's going to change. Nothing is going to change because they don't fix what is not broken. Right? That is kind of what they're looking at. They have been consistent to a certain extent, whereby they are in contention for 3rd place. And whatever that they got to do right now is just kind of work it in and try to, kind of improve from just now, whatever that they did. Kind of try to be a little bit more up in terms of their marksmanship, or maybe when it comes to team communication, they can be a little bit faster with the reactions and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, when it comes to early game aggression, I don't think that that's going to be the case. They're just going to be sticking on to their regular places. They want to play it off in places to places and just kind of play it safe for now, and then kind of do what Loud has been doing, because everyone pretty much is playing the same game. Their meta is the same. Early game, avoid fights. Mid game, let's go.
Okay. You don't want to... I'm wondering if as a 3rd, you look to just turn it up. You know what I mean? Like, now is the time to just go Super Saiyan and just like go all in.
That would be a kind of story.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, okay, it's weird because top 3 just gets you guaranteed. It doesn't matter if you're 1st, 2nd, or 3rd.
Yes.
Right? Because all you want to do is get to Sunday.
Correct.
So, for those 3, 4, 5 teams right now, I think that you need to play a little bit more cautiously.
Yes.
I think that it's probably to your best interest to do so.
Correct. However, we are missing out the some important details, whereby those teams all the way at the bottom part of the brackets, they do have 2 things that they want to think of. Number 1, do they want to play so passively whereby they are able, or they won't give 3 points away? Or number 2, do they want to just kind of throw all sorts of caution into the wind and just gun down the top leaders, just so that they can be, they lose in this very last match, which will create such a major wave of upset.
So I hope that. You know what I mean? Like, at this point, if you're the bottom 4 teams, that you're kind of what I consider mathematically eliminated. I don't think you technically are, but you know what I mean? Just the way that we've seen 5 matches already play out, I think you're going to have a hard time getting in. But those guys need to play spoiler. Right? They need to just find teams. They just need to pick it out. Right now, it's about respect. It's making sure that you're not on the bottom. You know what I mean? And you still have a potential of winning 50,000 over 40,000, which is still pretty massive for these guys. Right? So you do need to be careful with how this one plays out. So again, right now, just go hard.
Really want to see more of the World Series is going to be coming up next. of course, ladies and gentlemen, we are right back. Of course, this is just yet another game, Purgatory. We've seen Mode House. You know, Mode House is, well, in some sense, Loud's territory because we are talking about how they always head themselves to the northern area. Maybe they won't do the same thing. But maybe if they do the same thing, the bottom 4 of the current brackets, they head to the north, to Mode House.
You know, they should, but I don't think they will. It's so weird that the teams have just kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure not every single time you go to that certain location, right? You drop that area.
Unless they have like an unsaid agreement, like
no, but it's naturally flowed that way. Where players, the teams have kind of been like, oh, this is consistently where I go. This is where I go, and this is my home. You know what I mean? Like it's just naturally formed. Like you have your different states, so to speak, in the sense of just like everybody's kind of found their position. Because we haven't seen. I think the first one was a little bit like, oh, this is my territory, and then there's a little bit of a skirmish. But like throughout the matches, right now it's kind of changed where kind of people are kind of happy of just really not looking to fight in that first minute.
Yeah, exactly. So they kind of have like their own dominance area, and they have already marked their spot, take a quick piss out of it, and just kind of like, this is mine. Don't come here. We know what we want. You know what you want. So don't touch each other. They kind of unsaid agreement. But I don't know whether they are actually doing this or not. I don't know whether any of these teams have ever scrimmed with one another at all, because it is of their best interest to kind of learn against the opponents. They want to understand how they can play against the other metas. And this is definitely something that we have definitely thought before and of course seen before. But does that mean that, you know, there are some different strategies that they're trying to show to the other teams which, you know, they're trying to adapt to? So, I don't know. Did someone just get bamboozled?
You know, it is the 6th match. Again, a lot of these teams are just playing for respect at this point, making sure that they make a statement of, hey, you know, these are, you know, pad the KDA type of style, you know, to get yourself into this. Because at the end of the day, yes, it sucks. You know, you might not have had the greatest performance that you really, really wanted, but it is what it is. And unfortunately, this is how the cookie crumbled in that sense. And so we're going to get into that 6th game and we're going to figure out how these teams play. But, you know, I think that, you know, Viceroar, I think AAA, you know, New Gank,
God's Plan.
God's Plan. These 4 teams or whatever, they're going to learn a lot.
Yes.
And I think that that's like the biggest thing, is just playing internationally, understanding that, hey, this is a different level.
Yeah.
We need to match it. The next time we're here, we need to remember this pain, you know what I mean? And this feeling.
Yes,
because moving forward, we need to fuel ourselves. We need to ensure that we're better moving forward.
Well, this is here's the thing. We're looking at God's Plan. God's Plan, of course, came in from the Latin America. We're looking at Viceroar. They got qualified from the EUPL. We're looking at Attack All Around. That qualified from Pro League Thailand, and as well as God's Plan. They also qualified from the League Latin America. And Tom, I was just kind of having a talk with him through Discord. And the funny thing is, before everything started, he did say to me one thing: EU plays funny in World Series.
Okay.
And it kind of seems to be that case. So I don't know what's going on. But one thing's for sure, First Raiders, which qualified from Indonesia Masters, and Loud, which qualified from the Brazilian Free Fire. This pretty much shows that Brazil, as well as Indonesia, they are definitely not off the meta at all.
Yo, First Raiders, they were 2 points behind Evo's Divine. That team is a powerhouse.
They are a powerhouse indeed.
And the fact that they were 2 points behind says a lot. It says volumes about this team, right?
Yep.
And so moving forward, we knew that they were going to be strong. I mean, they're kind of neck and neck with Loud at this point, and I'm happy to see this. So we're going to see this, but looks like there's aggression that's going to be starting, and then we're going right into this one with a bang.
This is legit a bang. Tyson got himself out of all of action with only a sliver of health, and all of the members from New Gang, not all, but most of the members from New Gang has already been deleted. And look at AAA, Hoysung has already put himself in such a bad position, and he's pretty much eliminated as well by Team First Raiders. So it does seem like the former has been executed by the teams from the lower half of the brackets. They're just going all out. They just want to drop anywhere and just try to destroy any teams that they can, right? Or maybe it is just on a stroke of their luck.
Yeah, I think First Raiders are just in this power position where they can just be like, hey, we can take the fight to them. I don't care. I don't need to play passive. I don't need to be like loud. Look at this guy. Look at the loud team. Again in the north, they split up 2-2. They're not going to fight anybody for like 10 minutes.
Yep, sounds about right.
First Raiders are like, hey, we can outskill these guys. I don't care what these guys are how many there are. They're just a number for me, and they're going to be on my kill list.
Oh, really good time turner coming from the side of Bootguard. He really wanted to go for the execute. He really wanted to go for that 1 point, but he didn't even manage to scratch that surface. He really wanted to go for the final kill, but for some reason, that just did not happen. And AAA, the team that I really thought that they had a chance because of how experienced the organization Attack All Around is in the BR category. I thought that they are able to get themselves with a really nice lead into this play-ins, but unfortunately, they're going to be eliminated here in this very round itself, and they are not going to be one of the teams that we are going to be seeing in Sunday's games.
I think you owe Attack All Around, Viceroar, an apology for being so complimentary to these teams. You did not even give them a chance. We saw all day today that they were, they were gonna get they were gonna get smashed all day, you know what I mean, because of the fact that you were kind of high on these guys, on these teams.
I guess so. So I guess you can tell me which teams that you prefer, and then I will just compliment them for the finals,
well,
right?
I was going in. I knew Loud was gonna be strong. First Raiders as well. I was hyped on these teams.
Yep,
look at you bottom feeders. You know.
No, bottom feeders. No, you know what? I'm just kind of the guy. They kind of like to, kind of tickle from the bottom.
Okay.
I would like to see those underdogs going on, and I really love some good.
So here's the thing: when you call an underdog,
yes,
they have a chance to win. The teams that you chose
no, don't get there. Don't get there.
Shots fired. Here we go.
Yeah,
you can find me at such abstract.
That is massive.
On all social media, you can find me at such abstract.
No, if you find that shit a little bit too much, you can find him at Holo TV, man. Just go on out and just scold the heck out of him. Like, how I'm gonna be, looking at HQ Esports just bring 2% down like nobody's business. My God. HQ Esports, they are on a roll now with a total of 3 kills. Remember, the 3 teams that are contesting against one another is going to be HQ Esports. We're looking at DEA. We are also looking at Singularity. These 3 teams, they have to do whatever it takes to get a single point. Whatever points that they need to squeeze it out.
Yeah, you gotta go for points. You cannot be too passive, right? If those other teams, and you can see the number of kills that are happening in the game, right? If you see HQ, Singularity, DA, any of these teams getting kills, you need to start worrying. You be like, hey, we need to step it up a notch. We need to ensure that we're aggressive, we're getting the kills, because these teams, if they outclass you, you're going home.
Indeed. I mean, we'll see who is going to be the one going home after Mira. He's just kind of proning in the middle of this staircase landing, hoping that no one sees her. But unfortunately, everyone else seems to have an eye of the eagle. And Viceroar, it does seem like they know that their time is kind of up, and they decided to go for a little bit more of an aggressive stance right against HQ Esports. But the question is, are they even going to win this? Because Papas is already down. Crusher trying to run himself away, but no. He just got himself a really nice AUG shot right onto Crusher, and Crusher is just pretty much crushed. Elmas is going to be the next on the crosshairs of HQ Esports. They are definitely not going to give Viceroar any chance to breathe.
Neo now channeling his inner Kobe right now with 3 kills, just being like, hey, I'm going to take this team, I'm going to put it on my back, and we're going to go into this the finals, right? We're going to do whatever it takes at this point. They're in the lead with 5 kills. That's pretty massive. And a 4th.
Yo, you know what? This is a little bit too good of a start coming from the side of HQ Esports, right? They're just going all around the map. They're just literally getting like a small little crumbs, the small little pieces of this little cookie, and they're just getting everyone. A total of 6 kills just 6 minutes into the game. That is 1 minute per kill. And that is definitely not something that I was expecting. Because, like I said before, don't fix what's not broken. And HQ Esports, the way that they play, none of that is broken. Not overpowered, not underpowered. I think that they have been roaming around, they have been taking shots, they have been taking fights in a really reasonable ways. And this time, they're just trumping over everyone at this moment of time.
Yeah, but where is Singularity? Look at them. HQ starting to pull away, maybe even contesting in the Loud territory at this point. So DEA and Singularity, they need to step it up. They need to find people, whatever it takes.
Yeah. They need to be very concerned because they definitely have an idea of the kill feed, right? They can definitely see the very fact that, hey, you know what? It does seem like HQ Esports, they have been getting a lot of kills. We need to do something. They must be on their toes right now.
But the fact that this is Purgatory, massive map, finding people, not the easiest of things to do.
Yeah.
You don't have like tracking, you don't have like drones or something to just try to find people.
The only thing that you have is a UAV, but there's a chance that you'll just be kind of like shot down and all.
Not really gonna happen. So you gotta find things out. So you gotta figure out, you gotta get to the circle, whatever it takes, just try to find out people.
Wow, what a circle. What a circle.
Yeah, that's going to make for a dramatic ending to this one, of course.
I love that kind of ending.
Yes.
This circle is literally like almost... okay, I'm really bad at math. There's a reason people call me Mastrack, but there is I think that is like 69% land.
All right, okay. I think you're just making up numbers at this point, but, you know, we'll run with it, okay?
We'll run with it,
Considering the fact that you've been very vulnerable, you've been very open, we'll do an AMA at the end of tonight. But nonetheless, I appreciate the honesty. But, okay, going into this one, golf course looks to be the next sort of, the next course of action, at least for HQ, who are making their way around. Loud, look at these guys, all the way in the top. What do you think about this one here?
Well, a lot of verticality going on, and Hazel, well, one thing's for sure is that I'm pretty sure that Hazel knows that Janito didn't see her. I don't know. You can pretty much say that they are kind of having like a very unsaid truth because they know that, you know, we are at the bottom. You know, Janito.
Janito's looking up.
There's too much verticality. How are you even supposed to hit that?
For the record, Janito, I don't think he has a gun.
Weapon. No. He does.
Yeah.
He does have a weapon. It does seem like he's on a Vector Akimbo. Yeah, he's on Vector Akimbo. He's trying to get that tiny little crosshairs on, but unfortunately, it's way too high. The verticality makes it impossible for Janito to even land a single shot on Hazel. And these two, they're just gonna be hanging here, like literally on a cliff.
All right, I just had flashbacks to Dumb and Dumber. I don't even know why, but I just had with these two people. They're not even looking to kill anybody. They're not looking to do anything. They're just kind of sticking together. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. Honestly. I mean, obviously just staying alive, right?
Yeah.
Stay alive.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna fish for you.
Yeah,
I was gonna leave you hanging.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought that you're gonna leave me hanging, man. Come on.
No.
You've been
I got your back
since I don't know how many months ago. Yeah?
Okay, well. Loud making their way in. They're going to start going in like a SWAT team at the very end. GDP sticking around in the middle. SNG, this is another one. They're surviving, and this is going to be an epic finish considering HQ are making their way. And then there seems to be a lot of action that's about to happen.
Yeah, I mean, after all, HQ Esports, they're heading themselves right onto Central. And Janito, it does seem like... he's looking to get the free kill onto the head of Hazel. Hazel doesn't seem like she's even caring about Janito. Like, Hazel knows that Janito is there. But Hazel is like, no, I'm not even going to touch you. Are they going to be punching each other out? I don't know. But Janito is just running in closer and closer and closer and closer and just shooting right up. The time turner, the glue wall just popped, and Janito is just going to go for a head versus head combat. But for some reason, Hazel decided to drop all the way down and expose her big head over to the side of Janito because, well, when it comes to verticality advantage, when you are on the lower ground, well, your head is naturally going to be the biggest thing.
So Janito's going to get that kill there. okay, first Raiders, on the other hand, have Ambak and Joker all the way in the south, right?
Yep.
And they're kind of just sticking there. They do not want to fight. They've only got, what, two players left. So this is it, right? And so at this point, they're in the lead technically in terms of points. All they're doing right now is they're literally taking out their abacus and they're just calculating points. How many points? What rank do I need to be? Make sure that at least, you know, these other teams don't, hopefully they don't jump over me. But I think with a 20-point cushion, I think they're fine. But getting eliminated early could kind of put them in a wary situation.
There is 2 teams that has been eliminated already, as we are talking right now. So, well, Vice Aurora, we're only left with Janito, 1 man. We've got First Raider, we're looking at a total of 2 members left, while all the other teams at this point, at this current stage, they are all still pretty unhealthy. So we can pretty much be expecting that by the 4th or 5th circle, chaos is going to ensue.
Of course, of course. This is Purgatory. When have you not had chaos on Purgatory?
Well, there is one instance.
What is that?
I can't remember.
Okay, well that because it never happened. Is this the time that Viceroy won? Is that what you're saying?
Actually.
Yeah, it didn't happen. All right, nonetheless, GDP here staying low a little bit. They're trying to make their way around here. It might run into Singularity, so it does need to be a little bit careful here. Karma, that is.
As he slowly gets his scope onto the side of Singularity. I really want to see what Singularity have got, you know, hiding inside of their sleeves as Murs with the Grasa gets himself a really nice shot in his eyes, also with a really nice shot onto Ryan. 2 members coming from GDP that's already been knocked down, 1 deleted. It is going to be 3 versus 4, lobbing the grenade over to the side of Karma, but unfortunately it is not enough to blast him into smithereens. The grenades are flying all over the place. And Ninja is just cooping himself up with that glue wall to ensure that all of the shots, all the shrapnels, just does not intercept with his chin or his necks or whatever it is. But here it is. Ninja jumps in the fray, gets a nice knockdown on Muz, but unfortunately we are still looking at a 3 versus 2 kind of situation as Katarov as well as Muz jump himself right on top of the logs, gets the shot down on the Ninja. The next one in mind is going to be Karma, Katarov, everyone else is down from GDP, and Katarov gets himself a total of a triple for himself as they slowly climb themselves up in rank and ensuring that, you know, HQ is not the one that will be in 3rd place.
Yeah, DEA with 0, Singularity getting themselves back in the game with that one. I mean, they're gonna have to walk. They're gonna walk into HQ at some point, but Loud and DEA are going at it, and Loud cleaning up kills Derek.
Oh no, there we go, really nice glue wall, just in the nick of time. Another glue wall, another time turner. They are doing and expending whatever that they have to restore the life of that 1 member from DEA. But never did they realize that that single 1 member is just a bait, just but a bait. And this has allowed the rest of Loud to get themselves right up the ridge and heavily punish the opponents for whatever that they have tried to do.
I mean, DEA getting knocked out there. I'm pretty sure that they've been knocked out of the tournament, all thanks to Loud, who have been a bully throughout the day. We're just seeing just how they played out. Now it comes down to HQ and, you know, SNG at this point. I mean, both of those guys are top 2, at least in the rankings thus far, but it's going to come down to the wire.
It is gonna be the last team fight that really matters, right? Who takes home the booyah? Who takes home the most amount of kills? Is it really going to be? Is it gonna be Singularity, or is it actually going to be HQ? The most important question is gonna be pinned onto these 2 teams, because I don't think that there is a. Wait, there could be. No. I don't think that there's going to be a possibility whereby Loud or perhaps even First Raiders will be knocked down from 1st and 2nd. I don't think that that is very much possible.
It might be. I mean, they're going to have to be super light. I mean, Loud needs to get knocked out now, right? That's like one of the things. I mean, they were up, I think, 10 points and from that 3rd position. Which is very vulnerable to Stott, but I mean, who knows what's going to happen with 5 teams remaining, not a whole lot of, you know, area, so to speak, in terms of where you need to go. That circle is going to close, and the Brigade looks to be the end of where this is going to end, but HQ kind of maybe in a skirmish with Loud coming up.
As HQ, they are still the kill leaders at this point of time. I believe that they have a total of 6 kills. So SNG, they are not too far off from the total kills that HQ have. So they are still pretty much neck and neck, except for the fact that at the conclusion of round number 5, the score disparity is just 3 points. So they gotta have to work something out over here. I suspect and I see a little bit of a tiny little grenade being tossed all over and lobbing all around. The only thing that is helping Moskin is these small 2 little crates. Is it enough to get himself away from all of that? Really good shots coming in. Neo now with his AUG. This man is on fire! As he manages to get a really good shot down on the Moskin, but Artemis is the one that got the final shot in. And of course, a total of 8 kills for HQ Esports. While we are looking at Singularity, Katarov and Merz, these 2 members are the last man remaining, or makes that Merz the last man remaining, because it does seem like First Raider, they are just bullying Singularity right out of this map. And Merz, what can he possibly do? We snap back over to the northern side of the circle. We're gonna be looking at Neo now, whipping and rocking with his AUG. He suspects and he sees Funky M together with his rest of the team. They're just gonna be jumping right into the center of the circle, ensuring and pushing everyone else out of this current circle, because their opponent is just 2 members from First Raiders, 1 member from Loud, 1 member from Vice Roar. And speaking of Vice Roar, where are you, Janito? Where are you? All the way in the southern part of the island. Loud has been eliminated, and Vice Roar, they are still somewhere around, you know. He's still alive. They can still get themselves that 3 points, or not 3 points, the 3rd place, but it doesn't really matter because they can't get themselves to the 1st, 2nd, or even 3rd point. This is all on to HQ. HQ, they gotta get a kill on the Joker, right? So it should be an easy one as FR get themselves down to 3rd place. It's gonna be left with Vice Roar, the last man remaining. Can you imagine it? It will be absolutely insane if Vice Roar actually managed to clutch this out by killing every single 3 map.
But Neo now with 8 kills. I think that this oh my gosh, 2 of them have just been eliminated from HQ. Last down to the last one. It looks like Janito is going to look to just turn this around. BX gets eliminated. And that's a triple kill going the way of Artemis. And HQ turned it up, and they were like, hey, our tournament life is at stake. What do we do? Booyah!
There we go. A big booyah over to the side of HQ Esports for game number 6.
In the immortal words of Ali G, Booyakasha. Respect. HQ Esports turned it up, wins it out,
gets them pretty much guaranteed top 3 at this point. What a great showing by HQ Esports.
Well, we're gonna have to see the scoreboards in order to finalize everything. But one thing that is finalized is the fact that we do have the ROG phone and ROG headsets that all of these players are rocking in their very games here in the play-ins as well as the finals. So really big thank you over to ROG as they are the official gaming gear for the FFWS 2021.
Yeah, and so we're going to see the exact standings and how things played out. I think Loud are guaranteed in first. They look to be in as well. I'm thinking it's got to be HQ Esports.
Yeah, it's
as
gotta
well,
be
right?
HQ.
Like those top 3. So we're going to just get the little mice in the hamster wheel just calculating all the scores. That's going to be coming up soon. But we just saw 6 great matches to play in. And unfortunately, teams had to go home. We had 9 teams coming into this one. 3 of them are going to move on. 6 of them, unfortunately, are going to go home.
Yeah, so it's really sad for those teams that, well, wasn't able to make it a cut. Conf vs RR, I was...
that guy. Yeah.
You know what? It's okay. Come back another day, and I really hope that they will be able to do well in the next qualifiers, or perhaps even the next tournament
And
itself.
you just cursed him in the next one. Keep on going. Keep on just dipping a grave.
You know what? The casters jinx, the casters curse, it's for real. So you know what? If you want to win, don't ever win my support. But you know what? With that all said and done, ladies and gentlemen, we have went through every single one of the games today. First game, game number 1, all the way to game number 6 for the Free Fire World Series play-ins. And like you have said, everyone will go home except for 3 teams, which we will see again this coming Sunday.
Yeah, and it's big props to them. But the other 6 teams are going to get money, 50,000 to 40,000, some sort of breakdown in terms of those top, the mid-tier 3 and the bottom 3, 50,000 to 40,000 in USD. So that's massive money for those guys. It's going to be great for them to just continue to move on. But at the end of the day, I think more than the prize money, I said it before, but it's about the lessons learned, right?
Yep.
So let's go into the actual standings of that one. HQ Esports with that 25 points and then 13 kills.
Oh God, HQ Esports. I don't know if whether they managed to push anyone down. I don't think so, because Loud and first Raiders, second and third, it doesn't really make sense. No one will be flushed out of the top 3, and the top 3 will stay as it is. I don't know, but we shall see. We shall finalize it in a while later. But once again, HQ Esports with a total of 25 points to their name. First Raiders with 15 points to their name, and Loud with a total of 11, followed by Singularity with 10. Viceroar with 10 as well, DAA 6, God's Plan 5, New Gang 3, and Attack all around 2.
I really want to see the kills. I think that's going to be the biggest differential in terms of how this one's going to play out. I think that, in terms of the standings, what's going to happen, and here we go. First Raiders, first place, Loud second, HQ Esports. Congratulations to top 3. They're going to move on. Singularity, go home. Sorry, DEA, God's Plan, Viceroar, Attack all around, and of course, New Gang.
Yep, my power rankings has been faulted. I absolutely did not see this happening at all.
Who called it? This guy.
Take my seat,
This
man.
guy.
Take
This
my
guy.
seat. Sit down. Sit down.
Although, to be honest, I think HQ Esports, that was a little bit of a surprise for me. There was like a little, fight for third. I wasn't really sure. I think I was high on Singularity as well. We see this, but Neo now turns it up. 8 kills.
I agree with this.
Oh my! You don't get to agree with somebody who had 8 kills. That's like, what? He had an amazing game. You're like, I agree with it. What? That doesn't even make sense. Neo now turned it up like mad props for this guy. He was like, I'm gonna take this team, carry him on my back. Artemis picked up as well. Ambrock just finishing strong. He was a high fragger throughout today as well.
Yeah, Neo now, his name has been like blaring throughout the entirety of the play-ins, and without a doubt, this man has got what it takes to be one of the next individuals that are, massively, maybe the next Nobru, or maybe, Neo now himself, Don't be the next Nobru. Don't be the next Nobru. Be who you are. Yeah. He is going to be the Neo now.
Yeah. No, I mean, right now is when we need Neo now. Oh, sorry, I'm here with the dad jokes. Nonetheless, we're going to see them. Congratulations as they move on. I'm so hyped to see the finals, which are going to happen on Sunday. Whew. There's going to be 12 teams, so there's going to be more teams involved.
More teams!
The top, the winners that went on, and we're going to move in. I mean, just so much is potential, and we're going to see, again, just a bunch of fireworks because it's going to be action-packed, especially in going on Sunday.
And once again, to make things official and to kind of set everything in stone, congratulations over to First Raiders Loud and of course HQ Esports as they have managed to complete and compete in the play-ins, and they are they are advancing into the finals, which will start on the May 30th.
It's going to be Sunday. It's coming up. Sunday. This is the big one. We're going to see all 12 teams that are going to be coming. I'm super hyped. Again, I've been on this Loud Fluxo train, but who did you like going in?
You know what?
I want to hear your predictions now so we can be like, hey,
my
you're wrong.
previous power rankings, right? My previous power rankings, I do have Silence all the way at the top.
Oh, really?
Yep. So Silence, don't pull a Singularity or a Vice Aurora. My ego is at the lowest ends because this guy is just smirking at me. Even though he's got a mask and all, I know that he's just smirking at me.
You
and
can
just
see
like,
it in my eyes.
But you know what? No pressure to all these teams. I look forward to Sunday. I look forward to 2 days from now, and so should you. So make sure you check us right in again on Sunday, and don't make sure you guys watch all these because the Sunday games, they are going to be very big. They're going to be very, very important as well.
They're going to be important and as well, and they're going to find you at Such Abstract on social media. Please do give them a like and follow. You can find me at Holler TV.
Holler TV.
And that's it. Thank you so much for tuning into the play-ins. We'll catch you guys next time on the Grand Finals, which is going to happen May 30th, Sunday. We will see you there. Abstract and I will be there, and see you then.
Time to level up and pay attention. Only the best can win, and I got a vision. I'm gonna be everything you said I couldn't be. I'm gonna leave my footprint, P.S. I know you see. I do believe that some things might be destiny. I do believe that I'm gonna give the best of me. I know you can't see, but I'll be on top. Team name tag on every spot.
I'm going in, all in, everything on the line. Everyone wants to shine. I'm going in, all in. I got my crew right behind, and we would die for the win. One time we gon' level up, 2 times we ain't gonna stop, 3 times like a loaded and we're ready to hunt. It's all said and done, you better run. In a battle on the top, I'm a rebel, I'ma shoot the stars. Yeah, we're fighting for that one cause, one team, one dream, shoot the stars. In a battle on the top, I'm a rebel, I'ma shoot the stars. Yeah, are you ready for the battle? You know we won't stop.
All eyes on me, I smell the danger. Can't turn back now, I can't erase ya. Did they tell ya I'll be coming back? Stronger, faster, like a heart attack. I make it known I'm the master. Think that boom boom need a blaster. What you looking at, huh? We coming for you in the masses. Front row passes, champions roll all access.
All in, everything on the line. Everyone wants to shine. I'm going in, all in. I got my crew right behind, and we would die for the win. One time we gon' level up,
footprint. P.S. I know you see. I do believe that some things might be destiny. I do believe that I'm gonna give the best of me. I know you can't see, but I'll be on top. Team name tag on every spot.
I'm going in, all in, everything on the line. Everyone wants to shine. I'm going in, all in. I got my crew right behind, and we would die for the win. One time we gon' level up, 2 times we ain't gonna stop, 3 times like a loaded and we're ready to hunt. It's all said and done, you better run. In a battle, I'm sharp, I'm a rebel, I'm hunt, I'ma shoot the stars. Yeah. We're fighting for that one cause, one team, one dream, shooting stars. In a battle, I'm sharp, I'm a rebel, I'm hunt, I'ma shoot the stars. Yeah. Are you ready for the battle? You know we won't stop.
All eyes on me, I smell the danger. Can't turn back now, I can't erase ya. Did they tell ya I'll be coming back? Stronger, faster, like a heart attack. I make it known I'm the master. Think that boom boom need a blaster. What you looking at, huh? We coming for you in the masses. Front row passes, champions roam all access.
All in, everything on the line. Everyone wants to shine. I'm going in, all in. I got my crew right behind, and we would die for the win. One time we gon' level up,
2 times we ain't gonna stop, 3 times like a loaded and we're ready to hunt.
it's all said and done. You better run. In a battle, I'm sharp, I'm a rebel, I'm hunt, I'ma shoot the stars. Yeah. We're fighting for that one cause, one team, one dream, shooting stars. In a battle, I'm sharp, I'm a rebel, I'm hunt, I'ma shoot the stars. Yeah. Are you ready for the battle?
You know we won't stop.
You know we won't stop.
Time to level up and pay attention. Only the best can win, and I got a vision. I'm gonna be everything you said I couldn't be. I'm gonna leave my footprint. P.S. I know you see. I do believe that some things might be destiny. I do believe that I'm gonna give the best of me. I know you can't see, but I'll be on top. Team name tag on every spot.
I'm going in, all in, everything on the line. Everyone wants to shine. I'm going in, all in. I got my crew right behind, and we would die for the win. One time we gon' level up,
2 times we ain't gonna stop,
3 times like a loaded and we're ready to hunt. It's all said and done. You better run. In a battle, I'm sharp, I'm a rebel, I'm hunt, I'ma shoot the stars. Yeah. We're fighting for that one cause, one team, one dream, shooting stars. In a battle, I'm sharp, I'm a rebel, I'm hunt, I'ma shoot the stars. Yeah. Are you ready for the battle?
You know we won't stop. All eyes on me, I smell the danger. Can't turn back now, I can't erase ya. Did they tell you see. I do believe that some things might be destiny. I do believe that I'm gonna get the best of me. I know you can't see, but I'll be on top. Team name tag on every spot.
I'm going in, all in, everything on the line. Everyone wants to shine. I'm going in, all in. I got my crew right behind, and we would die for the win. One time we gon' level up. 2 times we ain't gonna stop. 3 times like a loaded, get me ready to hunt. Yeah, it's all said and done, you better run.